This will be interesting. I already know people are gonna hate on me for, you know, reacting to so much shit and all that, but I was told to react to this. He actually, I know this guy spent a lot of time on this video, so I'm actually going to do that. And I should probably bring these two back, just for the hell of it. I doubt this guy is much on the left side of the screen. But anyway, yeah, so let's get into it.
262 Ubers from the Battle Cats are going to be ranked in this video. From the common rosters to old collabs, I am going to rank all the Ubers from the Battle Cats. The rules
Also,
are shown on the
remember, this video was made 9 months ago, so there are obviously differences now than before.
That's how I'll often talk about their main usage and will avoid mentioning unnecessary.
So he's talking about stats at level 30, abilities that are only abilities that are relevant, so that's obviously going to be his own opinion, and relevancy and requirements play a role in the ranking. Requirements are fair. That's a fair thing. Papaluga to be at number 1? Hell yeah. You got Grateful Crane? Good job.
Without a doubt, the worst Uber of all time.
Alright.
Small range and health that
I don't know why the sound effect did that, but thank you for the follow, Commander.
Both being heavy hitters, resulting in a quick death. Even with the recent true form, it requires behemoth stones, thus making Hermit worthless once you.
I do have food, by the way.
True form.
So I'm eating. Underrated unit, but still garbage. Hello.
And Bomber Cat, she becomes near irrelevant. Even then, her percentage is terrible, making her worthless even before. A mid-range crowd controller who has
I don't know about worthless, but
red, black, and metal for 75% of her uptime. I'm gonna say this again: iCat, Bomberman, and Hoopmaster. Only passes Cornelia.
She has more range though. Don't forget about her range. I don't know why people compare Cornelia and H-Falc. They have completely different niches and they have completely different range. Don't compare her to Valkyrie. I gotta talk about this. It's a reaction video. What else do you want me to do?
Summer Luga is a variant of Neko Luga where she does surge attacks rather than a knockback and a freeze. Her spawn range is extremely inconsistent, throwing any potential usage of her surge. Though odds are you're left with a unit that has a range of 650 and a DPS of 900. Her true form is out of question due to it requiring a gold seed.
Out of the question because it doesn't require gold seed? And also, if her surge does land, it's actually fairly decent.
Super backliner with half a chance of knocking back metal enemies and with talent zombies as well.
700 range, by the way.
Super backliner isn't as effective with the given traits as
with 1000 DPS. 1000 DPS at 780 range, that's not actually that bad. It's just another Cyberpunk without a blind spot.
Holy Coppermine is better than her summer variant due to her having less competition to the traits she goes against. That doesn't mean she's good, though against Angel she has a tiny bit of
still outranges any other options. And it's a super low recharge time with good DPS.
Who deals a hefty amount of damage against Angel and Alien. This may sound promising, though once you look at the details, her usability falls. Her attack frequency being 17 seconds and attack animation being 2 seconds.
Yeah, 17 attack frequency is crazy.
To land a hit if she misses, which is more than likely.
Yeah, fair.
Super backliner with a strong against and guaranteed chance to slow Black as well as Aku once you get to a true form. Against Black, she can have a little bit of potential though. Her uptime for her slow is lower than half. Against Aku is actually worse.
I'd say I agree with this one. I would agree for the most part.
Crowd controller against them. In the end, if you organize your lineup for her, she can be a somewhat okay crowd controller. Dhalsim is the first anti-traitless in the ranking with their
100% chance to weaken for 3 seconds. Isn't terrible, it's just kind of weird. Why is Mystico so low? Because it's a 9-month-old video and Mystico's not amazing, but she has usage.
A ranged unit that does massive damage against Black.
As long as he's not saying they're useless, I'm fine.
And a guaranteed chance of knockback. Just like past Ubers, this unit can be easily replaced.
Yeah, they are comparing to the rest versus how good they are. It's all a comparison.
Use him with Pizza Cat. It's just that there's no real situation where you need to.
500 range though? I'm sorry for pausing, but having 500 range
by a lower rarity.
Having 500 range allows him to outrange Lenoir, which Pizza cannot, so it's worth it. And yes, we are watching the whole video.
Situation where you need to. A well-known Uber being considered as one of the worst. His ability to curse is one of the worst crowd controllers in the game, as curse only works
4800 DPS at 475 range is actually not bad, and his curse can come in handy.
He can have as a ranged damage dealer in extreme early game, though once you progress, he becomes non-obsolete. Betrothed Balaluga may seem good at first, as his range and damage per second is actually good for a Luga, though from his stream multi-hit, only
The
its
uptime is not
last hit
amazing.
reaches in his standing range, meaning that you'll only get 1/3 of its damage. Its freeze is worse than its original variant, so he fails at both crowd controlling and
Yeah, the
dealing
uptime's
damage.
not that
His
great.
tools only works if
Papaluga
SC
is the best
has
unit?
heavy
Alright.
pushers, but at that point, you need a better solution than just Betrothed Balaluga.
Opinions.
E Honda is mainly a tanker against Angel and asks you
A rushing tanker. Don't forget about his about his speed.
Angel. Even if you want to use him as a tanker, funny enough, his range is too long for him to take the hit, though can be semi-countered with his guaranteed knockback against Angel. Still,
230 is not as bad as other tankers' range.
Ursula Mercia
But
is
his
a
DPS
melee
ain't bad.
tanker who has a 30% chance of dodging attacks from red and floating and a guaranteed level 3 wave on her second hit. A dodge with a chance that low should be viewed as a bonus rather than
I'm assuming he's not talking about talents for the most part.
The problem is that's her only form of surviving, making her usage extremely risky. Her waves aren't rewarding either, as it's created on her
Because
second
it's
hit,
40%
lowering her
chance with
of
talents, I
wave
think.
landing. In the end, she's an extremely okay-ish against floating and red only.
Oh wait, no, this is first love Mercia. Never mind.
Soul Day Rocker has the similar method of Betrothed Balaluga, where their stats may be accepting at first.
I'm
but
off
only
alright, see ya.
one of their hits land from their multi-hit.
That's a crazy DPS though, even with the multi-hit.
Though their massive damage against Red, Angel, and Alien, and Colossus Slayer is what makes
And
it
the first hit
so
slightly
competitive.
pierces, so that actually seems okay.
Progress further.
Just interesting. Hydrate? Alright.
Extremely basic. Strong against Red, floating, and Angels with a
Basic because she's old, but low recharge time, good effective DPS and HP.
Underwhelming as her damage is low, her traits are some of the most power crap, and her weaken isn't nothing to praise. As
And
she
only
has
350
a
range,
thus
but
has
it's
potential
fine.
clearing the job. Her
I'm gonna check your
potential
message.
rises in the
You got
early game,
Phono
where
and
she has
JP,
little
good
to
job.
no competition.
I did look at it, I just
Purge is an
didn't
anti-metal
mention it
that
because I'm
has a
reacting to
chance
something
perform
else.
a critical hit. The problem isn't her, as she does perfectly fine against her trait. The problem is the trait itself. Metals are easily countered with Jurassic Cat, and the cats you receive
So that
from
means that
fire
he's going to
punches,
put all
so
the
there
good
really isn't
anti-metal
anything
Ubers
for
low
her
down
against
here,
the
right?
metal. Also, her percentage
That's
of
what he's
crit
doing?
is low, so she shouldn't be your only metal critter. Sakini Jama is a lower mid-range unit who guarantees a slow
Yeah, he
against
will
black
carry you.
floating for more than half her
5800
health.
DPS is pretty decent.
Traits, but due to her
Especially for a
consistent
proc
range of
unit.
325, she's more replaceable to cheaper and common units such as Bomberman.
Having a
and
proc
Force
unit that has
Better
6k
does a good
DPS,
job against close
honestly
range
not bad,
floating
especially
and
with
black
low
damage.
recharge time.
Daya Kamiki is a unit who aims to be a generalist with a 50% increase in damage when she's half her health. Generalists
Not
are amazing,
terrible.
but having a range of 400 limits
Pretty
her
good
damage.
DPS
If
at
she
400
had
range
range,
whenever
then
she's
a
strengthened.
second would be a huge
And by
help.
pretty good, I mean very good.
A range
But she has to be
unit
strengthened
with
for
a
that.
chance of knocking back red and alien enemies. There really isn't that much to say about Nisatama.
I've never heard of
as
this
they're
Uber in my
okay
life.
with everything. Though, to be honest, I personally like the low chance of knockback, as it won't bother the other units brought onto the stage.
What the fuck is this? I have no
Beluga
idea.
is a super backliner that guarantees a knockback and a freeze. If you want a unit that guarantees a short
This guy
freeze
can
and
actually
knockback
push back
every now
fairly
and
well
then,
against
Beluga is
like
the
slow
unit, that's
bosses,
about it.
so he can actually provide very good use sometimes.
Chance of freezing angels and on her true form against Aku as well. Her
Only
chance is
75% chance without any other niche is kind of lame and boring and kind of not very useful since Akus will have shields.
But Sanso's talented angel Target can do a good enough job.
Super low recharge time though.
Thundia is near identical to her normal variant in stats, except for her typing being black rather than red. Pizza Cat easily replaces her, and due to her absence of true
She has
form
more
attack,
range than
her
him though.
stats
She
are
outranges Lenoir.
Gil is a mid-range crowd controller who is resistant and guarantees to slow and weaken on its second hit against floating. Again, Sansa and Octopus.
What
do
is
better
this?
job,
I'm
but
reacting
his
to
general
Neo's
is extremely weak for being a
ranking.
tanker.
Uber ranking.
With a big range and huge piercing for the amount of damage he does, Nobel
Yes,
Lucas is like
sir.
an amazing
Huge
sniper.
piercing.
The main problem with him though is the survivability. Although he's immune to waves and he has a good standing range, the moment enemies begin to hit him, he won't be able to reposition himself. Though in a few
He's still got
cases, he can
30,000
do a decent
HP
job
though.
of
Just don't let things hit
the
him.
enemy's
500
mistake,
range is
so
not
that's
a range that you should be getting hit at.
Moon Operators is a backliner with a guarantee of slowing red and zombies. Zombies are more risky as she has a low health and no abilities to protect against
Yeah,
zombies,
fifth Lugo
thus they're
already.
able to barrel and beat Moon Operators more quick. Their slow is
100% chance slow, that's, I mean, like what, 40% uptime? You can use, you can use them alongside those and still get good use with 450 range.
Interesting zombie tanker with an HP of 136.
Interesting is an understatement. He's kind of weird. What's my overall opinion on the video right now? I think it's honestly fine. He's not doing too badly.
Extremely lucky with his dodges in order for him to work. If his dodges do not activate,
By too badly, I mean, I agree for the most part, whenever he's actually talking about the units. I know I'm talking over him a lot, but I definitely agree with a lot of what he says. Sodom didn't have relic talents whenever...
He's known for his smooth
Sodom didn't have relic talents this long ago, did he? So, I will give him the benefit of the doubt here. Better than the last one? Absolutely. I can't afford to pause this video very often. It's 2 hours long.
Knockback, it's better to just use anti-floating rares and supers. There's nothing really wrong with him besides his stats being a disappointment.
With relic targeting, Sodom's much better though. Keep that in mind.
Colette performs better than past supers as these traits still have room for new units to handle. Her decent range makes her welcome to bringing stages containing those
410 range with 100% chance weaken for less than half the time. She's alright. 60-second recharge time is her best part. 2 hour of content, let's go. It's gonna be more. Now that she has a true form, she's really good, but without her true form, I agree.
Black and metal with a guaranteed chance of knocking them back, and an extremely low chance of
480 range though.
Was too low to rely upon. Black and metal are the traits that least need to tank it back.
480 range is actually really good. Same range as Zeus, so
that deals a decent enough damage.
I don't know what version, but it came out 9 months ago. Well, he just admits that he said stuff for the algorithm. That's funny. But yeah, all credit to this guy. I just want to say all credit to this guy, Neo. He did amazing on this video. He did, in fact, do a lot for this video. I'd say it's a good video. How good is healers, Cat CC in true form? Very. You can cheese many stages.
Well-ranged crowd controller who has a 2-part multi-hit with half a chance of flowing red and metal for 5 seconds in each hit.
460 range though, with 5k DPS, multi it's kind of weird though. Slow's not bad though. 5 second slow is not terrible.
Though a case like that rarely occurs. If you unlock her early game, she could be a good range generalist. Red and None do a fine enough job in crowd controlling Black and Metal with their half a chance of knocking back
yes, sir.
or slowing them. Their long distance is nice.
It's just not a desirable niche. It's my team. I wouldn't add it to a general team. It can just cheese the occasional stage. It's not amazing.
Hikachi is the newest and first elemental pixie in this ranking.
Yeah, he's ass.
Hikachi still has a lot of room to fill their role. With a low range of 170, it's concerning that
he needs a true form. Absolutely.
So they have to rely heavily on
yeah, my boy, my Wompy boy. He's literally my follow alert. It is fair. I do use him though. He obviously still has usage. He's not saying he doesn't have usage. He's saying that he's not that amazing.
Similar traits as their original and Christmas variant. The Wave Rider is more praised as their target is more acceptable.
The Wave Rider also has a lot lower attack frequency. Yeah. So he said, yeah, he said it. However, she targets zombies, which is still really good. Ku targeting zombies is actually extremely good. And with her lower attack frequency, it's not as big of a problem. Hello, Pixel. 5,000 range at 450 range, or 5,000 damage, 5,300 DPS at 450 range. Pretty good. Knocking back is just a poor niche, but against the zombies, she could be fine.
You can rewind the video and compare them. I'm not even playing.
They are very similar. So yeah, she's also pretty good. You would draw me with the Thwomp if I knew your character, but it's just eyes as far as I'm aware. That is my character. I don't really have a character, unfortunately. Baby is cool. Doesn't she have talents now or something? I think she's different now, so... You gonna watch this whole vid? Planning on it.
She focuses more on being a generalist who
getting double money is cool from her.
If there's a reason on why she's low on the rank, is due to her
an area attacker with double money is cool. Air Uber, you actually watching the video about Uber's ranked? Huh? Baby has a true form with gives her multi it. Oh, okay. Okay. Do remember this came out 9 months ago. So be aware that some things will have changed since this video. What's your prediction on where the worst rated fast Uber will land? Probably in the 50s, maybe.
100 and is strong against red, floating an angel.
6,000 DPS, strong against honestly.
Due to his underwhelming health, not even reaching to 100.
Underwhelming health with strong against, he has like 160,000 HP. I wouldn't say that's underwhelming at all. He's a good melee Uber, I'd say, especially with his Omni.
Who blocks any waves she encounters. The problem with her is her endurance and replayability. Her knockback of 10 makes her familiar to super.
Yeah, but she has more range than Octo. She outranges things that Octo doesn't.
Due to her constantly getting knocked back.
And then she also has pretty... Oh, wait. I just want to say, you watched the bad tier list and that shit was ass, yeah. By the way, I wanna mention something here. No talents, keep in mind? Yeah, also keep in mind that there's no talents. Should you add Ganglion to your team? I mean, do what you want. It's a single player game. Just do whatever works. Doesn't really matter. He's good, don't get me wrong, but do whatever works. I want to say, these are the wrong stats. Pay attention whenever you're watching this video because some of the stats are wrong. He did some of them wrong. Which no hate to him, absolutely no hate. A 2-hour long video is impossible to edit. But these are Ken stats. This is still Ken. This is still Ken, not Hellward and Emma. Hellward and Emma. Hold up. I guess I'm literally on a browser. I can just show you. Hellward and Emma. Battlecats, Warden, Emma. I'm kind of close to 1,000 subs. But... And you don't want your team to be chalked? Well, it's alright. If it's chalked, but it works, it's fine. You're going fast? I know. But yeah, Emma has 200 range, 3,800 DPS, 340,000 base HP, along with a 40% chance to weaken with a multi-hit, with an Omni Strike that pierces 150 forward, and immunities and Wave Shield. So the main problem with her is that she doesn't actually tank very well, thanks to her knockbacks. But other than that, she has a lot of HP, she has really good weaken, because of her multi-hit. And her DPS is kind of piss poor, but she has Wave Blocker, so yeah. But pay attention whenever you're watching this video, because something is a little... Sometimes it's a little rough. Also, you saw a combo. I can show you the combo. The combo is a weaken effect of L. But the other two units you're not really going to use very often. At least, you're not going to use this guy very often, but these two you could use together. I'm really planning to watch another hour and a half of Neo. Somebody asked for it, so I'm gonna do it. Bro, we would never finish that video. I'll try. I can try. I got time.
Sakura is a decent enough anti-red crowd controller who has half a chance of knocking back and or weakening red enemies.
Pretty good status on red, especially with her weaken is 8 seconds long, which is pretty good.
Crowd controlling red. Koopa Luga is a crowd controller in its second form and a metal
yes, sir.
in its true form. At the second form, he's
you already saw it,
stages,
so you don't have to watch closely. Alright.
Become less cheesable, thus Koopa Luga being useless. True form
Kyoko is so good. Kyoko is good. All of these, like, all Ubers have a usage at least. And there's a lot of good generalist Ubers. There's a lot of good Ubers. There's just, you know, it's a tier list, so you gotta compare them to something. I also think it's funny that he messed... I think it's funny he messed this shit up, but... Also, Isumboshi has a true form now, unlike here. Lugas are either useless or they will hypercarry you, true.
The biggest problem with him is that he fails to be a good rusher. A range of 150 and a speed of 50, those are underwhelming as the Angels and trait list you were playing.
150 range is underwhelming for... What do you mean? It's a rusher. What do you want it to have? 500 range? Like, chill out, bud. 150 range is more than enough for a rusher. And with 300 range Omni, it's perfectly fine. Just coming in to say hi, watching One Piece, so I gotta go. Enjoy One Piece, it's a very good anime. He messed up his princess and put Nagasa's icon, yep.
PPT-48 is a mid-ranger that has a 40% chance of freezing black enemy. Being a unit that freezes black...
To be fair, that unit did get a true form recently, so...
Though that's completely true.
This unit, however, I don't see how this unit is any better than Oni, but whatever. Oh no, my rusher doesn't have 7,000 range.
And with her range being 380 and a recharge time of 20 seconds, she could be treated as a better Juliet, though nothing more.
Yeah, the quote-unquote Uber.
The 10th Angel is best described as risky yet rewarding. His 400 range,
is he rewarding?
Knockbacks and 40,000 health may make them fragile, though when
oh, he's got a surge. Yeah, he's rewarding. Your friend recently started watching One Piece and he said he was binging the show? Uh-huh. It's a very good show to binge.
If all hits land, you'll be using a unit who does 12,000 damage per second against Angels, with a Pierce of 500 and a freeze as a small bonus.
If all hits land though. And by the way, I just want to say that's the same DPS as Dazzly, so.
400 range. The most may just use something safer.
Again,
Heroes is a long-range crowd control that weakens red, floating, black, and once true formed, relic as well. The first three
yes sir. He's using the second form sprite, but whatever.
Potential as Cat Clan has the Pierce of 150, letting them weaken most relics on the field. As part of the Dynamites, they have a quick recharge time, meaning that if your Cat Clan on the field dies, you can quickly spawn another one. Overall, it's a chaos crowd controller.
Yeah, pretty good
Rusev
weekend though.
second newest elemental pick
This is
has
before her
listed
true form, by the way,
Kakashi,
so
where her potential hasn't yet been uncovered due to the lack of true forms and talent.
yeah.
She aims
Her
to
true
be
form
mid-range
makes her a lot better.
anti-zombie and alien, though her health and damage is too low for her to be used in any real difficult stages. She can
Neo
be a
got
good
Baja
character
Blast
into
before
the future of
Neandum?
zombie
Damn.
outbreaks, though those aren't really huge accomplishments.
That just means he didn't
Kamakura
prioritize
is a safe bet on
legend stages.
controlling red with half a chance of a knockback and or slowing red for an uptime of 75%.
Yupper.
His general stats are too low for him to do decent damage, though as said, if you want to
What do you
crowd
mean?
control reds in the
What does he mean? 5,000 DPS at 475 range is actually good for a general damager. That's actually not bad at all.
field, he's a goodish option.
Yeah, double the
Mercy is
HP in true form.
mid-ranger with a 30% chance to dodge straightless and a guaranteed level 4 wave on her second hit. Her chances of dodging is extremely low, and she takes too long for her second hit to land.
Kamakura is pretty okay.
Be on the field as often. The reason why she's higher than others though is due to the fact that she targets straightless, which is very demanding.
True. Factual.
Asaluga is a crowd controller whose main purpose is to slow all enemies for 3 seconds.
I'm glad this guy put Asaluga pretty low.
Which easily replaces them, though you can pair the two up and have a good crowd control.
Asaluga only has a 3-second slow with such a low attack frequency though, so you honestly, like, he's not better than Cyberpunk.
7,000, once you factor in the massive damage, you get a unit who does 28,000 damage per second. This sounds amazing, but once you put her onto the field, her multiple flaws show.
Asaluga also has really large recharge time.
Have a high knockback count, and due to her 3-part multi-hit, her first hit will probably knock them back. Thus, her damage per second becomes a fraction of the original 28,000. Against Alien, it isn't any
A fraction of 28,000 is still a lot though.
Of 350, leaving her with no competition. In the end,
Even her base 7,000 is really good.
Frozen Rosecat is a White Day variant of Ice Cat with close stats compared to her, though Frozen Rosecat aims to free zombies with her 75% chance of the
There's not a lot of zombie freezers that are consistent, so
she's extremely fragile, and against zombies who bury onto her range, her 30,000 health won't save her at all.
just don't let them bury. Is this gonna be a 2-hour highlight? I'm not even gonna edit it. This is gonna be the full thing.
More than welcome, but that's all
I'm not. You think I want to edit through this? No. I'm not editing this.
Along that, his movement is pretty light, so he may clip in, resulting in a quicker death, though that can be covered with his decently fast recharge.
Fair. Hi YouTube, Jesus. 480 range, by the way. 6,000 DPS, by the way.
He can be useful if you have no other backlander, but other than that, he's like basic, like really.
He is pretty basic though, but 6k DPS is still better than most of what you'll find.
Kamakura is another backliner who has half a chance of flowing and or knocking back metals, and once true formed, Aku. He also has wave immune, which gives him a...
I mean, fairly okay for metal, honestly. For Aku, not so much, but for metal, plus being immune to wave is kind of cool.
Crowd controlling, he can have some usage, though his lack of shield piercing and surge immunity is what makes him worse than others. Chronos the Bride is a White Day variant of Empress Chronos, making her seem welcoming, but the changes in her stats make her far worse.
Yeah. Chronos the Bride is very underwhelming. You're totally not at gunpoint? I didn't do anything.
Chance of creating a level 5 mini-wave. Though having many possibilities
Shut up, chat.
Enemies is welcoming, she quickly becomes unreliable due to her not being able to properly crowd control, as you'll never know what abilities she'll land in her attacks. Even then, her extremely low duration of 1.5 seconds makes using her not worth it.
You think I need interaction? No, I'm good.
Controller, not your main. Mobius is the only Uber from the Crash Fever event, being a red killer and crowd controller. She's fine and does a good job against red with a guaranteed knockback and her massive damage. It's just that red is the most power corrupt trait.
She's an old Uber, so she's very basic. But still pretty good against red, honestly. I don't know the highest number for each set. I don't know. Why would I know?
Black can be ignored as
Their scouts not bad.
Though floating can be nice during early to
kind of basic, but that's just from her being old.
More common yet open for unit targets. She does a fine enough job at crowd controlling floating. Lancer is a backliner that does a decent damage and guarantees
480 range. Yeah, he's kind of just basic.
That unit to bring if you have no other Ubers. Basic stats though has a good range. Yeah, that's right. The Christmas variant Twin Stars is better than the original. No Angel Twin Stars advantage all comes down to the target.
Don't think so.
Angel shares the similar page as Black, where the enemy's Twin Stars can counter has a huge...
I think Alien on normal Twin Stars makes them better than this Twin Stars, especially with higher base DPS.
Twin Stars does a good enough job in dealing huge damage against floating. Wyvern Cat is what Twin Stars wishes they could be. Wyvern is simply a mid-range snooker who has half a chance of weakening Black.
I was about to say 4th on the bad tier list is based. I mean, yeah. Very good anti-Black, I'd say.
Good Black snooker, though his mid-range is what truly limits him. Bija is a perfectly serviceable anti-metal, being a long-distance unit with a guaranteed freeze against metal.
What happened to targeting metals making you kind of like not that great?
350, which sounds amazing until you realize no ranged metal exists. His decent critical
Yeah,
chance and
fair.
guaranteed freeze against metal
This guy's not
is the
bad.
only reason you'll use him. Though outside of metal stages, it's best not to use him.
Oh wait, was that before Wyvern's true form? Is this before Wyvern's true form? I don't know what Wyvern's true form looks like, but yeah, that's a cursed ass cat, I will say.
A good black chance of landing a crit. His long distance pierces up to 300.
Vega is a very good
which
anti-metal,
sounds
though.
amazing until you realize no ranged
I will
metal
say.
exists. His decent critical
Especially with
chance
his
and
LD.
guaranteed freeze against
That's a
metal
huge
is
LD,
the
by the
only
way.
reason You'll use him. Though outside of metal stages, it's best not to use him at all.
KG, piss KG.
The original KG, and it's extremely nerfed in this version. On KG's class true form, he's resistant to
Much less DPS, unfortunately.
doubles his damage once he reaches half his
But he
health.
does
This
target
sounds
two things.
amazing until
It
you
is
realize
true
that
form
they
Wyvern?
remove
Okay.
50% less range compared to the original. The 350 to only 300 range is a huge difference.
This guy doesn't. Okay, so I understand that there's a lot of research to do. However, I want to make sure everybody knows. I want to make sure that everybody knows that. Where the fuck is the right one? I want to make sure everybody knows that Mida KG only has 320 range. It goes from 320 to 300, so it's not actually that big of a difference. It's not actually that major of a difference. It's only 20 range. But it is still a difference nonetheless. What browser are you using? Opera
It means
GX.
that KG will be often hit more and killed quicker. Still though,
Nah.
KG class is still a decent tanker against a trace.
It's also
But
completely
also
different
able to
targeting.
to waves, and it's a good option if you need a unit with that immunity. Miyabi Obama does what KG
Mary Hayes
class
is
does.
amazing.
Though she doesn't have resistance against any trade, she has a safe 300
Strengthen at 6,000 DPS with immune to waves. Fairly good, honestly. Let me get real quick. You can just keep using Google Chrome. I just use Opera because I want to. I don't use Obama.
She's a good unit at wave stages.
No, that's Oyama.
Sweet Love Mikako is a Valentine's variant to the original Mikako from the Dark Heroes, meaning that each form has a different role. All forms have half a chance of freezing a certain trait for 4 seconds that have
Yep.
an uptime of 57%. The second form is
Considering it's only 50%, not a lot.
Bomberman can outperform her.
You're telling me to rewind on a 2-hour long video? Come on now.
Doesn't have with that immunity. Miyabi Obama does what KG.
Oh my god, he did say Obama. That's funny.
Into the original Mikako.
I did not realize he said Obama. That's funny.
Different role. All forms have half a chance of freezing a certain trait for 4 seconds that have an uptime of 57%. The second form is irrelevant as the screen is black and Bomberman can outperform her. And her true form can be put onto good use if you don't have a lot of anti-relic crowd controllers. Her
Yes,
real
sir.
potential is her first form, which freezes traitless. Now as said,
Facts.
traitless has little competition in Uber, so Mikako can
Especially with a good
crowd
range
control them.
and somewhat decent DPS as well.
Not guaranteed, and in average, you
And
will
good
use
HP.
traitless each 14 seconds for 4 seconds, which isn't a lot to be honest. Ricky
Yeah,
is
it's
part
a
of
lot
the
for a
Ricky form,
freeze.
with his first form being a melee unit and his second form being a back.
Let's be real, he's only good for his combo.
For his cat combo, Bring
Yep.
It On, which requires
Yes, sir.
him to activate a unit defense up. This is a good cat combo in case you want to strengthen the rest of your units in the loadout, and will only be the real reason you use him. Springtime Kenshin is an Easter.
I think
rated
6K
War Dog
DPS is
Kenshin,
underrated.
who makes to be strong against angels with a guaranteed chance of knocking them back. Sadly, in order to unlock her true form, you'll need a golden catfruit seed, which once you reach at that level of the game, her usage already becomes non-obsolete.
That's
So
fair.
during
That
early
is fair.
and late game, she can be a good anti-angel as she'll guarantee a crowd control as well as take chunks of health from them. Sadly, as just said, later in her game, her stats won't reach the expectations of your other units. They got us another unit from the Street Fighter collab, with his role being a massive
damage and strengthen is honestly pretty good.
By 50%. Once their
With
health
it-
reaches
with his
cap,
low recharge
his
time,
strength
pretty
can
decent
activate
HP.
while dealing damage to
He's actually not
targets
bad.
with an astonishing 27,000 damage per second. Should be said though that he's still a
Pretty
unit
crazy.
with underwhelming stats, with only a standing range of 350, causing a quick death.
But he's also targeting
Damage outside
floating,
of
which
floating
isn't really that much of a
using
problem.
Floating only stages. Rama Sotome is a mid-ranger who does massive damage against red and floating with a pierce of 75. Again,
Multi, it's
his
kinda
range is
weird,
not
massive
like his
damage.
range, as he only has a
Somewhat
standing
of a
range
piercing Omni
325,
Strike,
plus a health of
good
just
HP, but
15,000. I mean,
low
once
attack
you
range of
deal a lot
325
damage,
is kind of her
you
only
will
problem.
perish by the enemy. Still,
You can immediately
if
hear
you can
Neo's
take a bunch of
voice.
melee enemies,
Yeah.
it could be a good option. Another
Megadora.
anti-frozen with half a chance of knocking back and or
6200
slowing
DPS at
Megadora
425
similar
range.
stats to Nurse Cat, though
Don't
Megadora's
underestimate it.
faster attack rate results in a better crowd control against floating.
It also provides
Sakura
him
is a
higher
member of the
DPS.
Pierce that does massive
Neo and
damage
tier
against
list do
all
not go
traded
well together.
enemies. She shares a similar role to Is the Dancer, a well-known Uber. Though what Sakura fails to do is survivability in the field. Sakura has 50 less
I mean,
range,
80,000
meaning that
DPS is fine with 250 range, honestly.
recharge time being double doesn't
This is at level 30, by the way. And she also has good Omni
the
Strike.
majority of your run.
I think she'll do
Machine is
fine.
the first variant of Cat Machine on this ranking, being a white day version of them, with the ability to resist Angel and
Only
Ice Blade,
75% chance to pierce shields is kind of rough, but other than that, I agree.
Either if it's weaken or pierce will satisfy your need for crowd controlment, as Cat Machines are known for their long attack
I support what he
duration, with
says.
them missing most of the time. The real usage for Cake Machine is being resistance against Aku. Ramen Cat covers Angel resistance, as Aku is still
Resistance to Aku doesn't do that much, honestly.
Machine itself. As a result, he does a fine enough job on tanking the Makus. Balaluga shares a similar role to its brother Asaluga, though Balaluga's freezing and its later true form weakening is superior than Asaluga's.
3-second freeze with 6-second weaken. Pretty good. Pretty good. Terrible DPS. Don't use them for damage.
Corpse is a tanker,
Death Surge, yeah.
Whose resistance against red, metal, and zombies. With
No
half
damage, but
weakening
good
them for
HP.
4
Really good
seconds. His
HP.
ability against these traits aren't too bad, as he's able to pierce up to 100, and if we apply his resistance and weaken, his health can go up to 1,000,000. He's a hefty tanker though. Ro can cover that.
1,000,000? Oh yeah, with the
Metal's a
weaken.
huge deal, and even if zombies may sound like room for opportunity, his ability of
He didn't mention the range of the rusher, by the way, so I guess 150 range really isn't that bad
If there's an enemy
for a
with
rusher.
a trait on the stage, they may quickly get rid of that tanker. Icon Nintendo is a generalist who pierces up to 50%.
That sounds like Nintendo.
With a guaranteed breaking barrier in a
You wanted to use
30% chance
Balaluga
of
for
fast
DPS?
blow.
Oh
With her
no,
short
11
recharge time, She
DPS.
could be a decent generalist in the early to mid-late part of the game. Her
Cool,
pierce
cool
and
Uber
damage
with the
are more
Savage
than
Blow,
well,
but
damage
not
percent
amazing.
is still lower
Good
than
barrier
average.
breaker though,
Her
and her
main
LD.
selling point
Her
is
LD is
the
pretty
barrier
good
breaker
with
has
low
the
recharge
potential to
time.
guarantee them, but pierces to the enemies more further. View her as a strong fencer cat.
Yes sir.
Shao
Well,
Kahn is the best
and an
comparison to
LDer,
the
but
others,
whatever.
as he has a 30% chance to knock back and or slow all trays for 2 seconds.
I don't know
as
much
well
about
as
this
having
guy.
long distance that pierces
He has a
up to
cool LD
300.
though,
The knockback and slow should be treated as a
but
bonus,
he doesn't do
as
like
percentage
jack
should
shit
rotate
otherwise,
rather,
so.
his strength is his long distance. There isn't
Oh,
any
he
crowd
knockbacks and
members that
slows
have
traded
at
enemies?
least
Not for
300,
very
but
long,
maybe
and it's
you're
not
able
even
to use if you
guaranteed,
need to
unfortunately.
outplay most of the enemies in the battle.
It's a weird ass face.
Great Flower Verbana is a metal creator with her dream multi-hit. Each
He did not call Akane a fencer. He compared her to Fencer Cat.
having a 25% chance of landing a crit. If you're having troubles with metals and you currently have her, she'll help you take care of them, as simple as that.
She'll basically carry you
Alright,
through them
Kuro
though,
is an
because she
interesting
does
nuke.
good
She's a
damage
ranged
with
nuker that's strong against red and
Critter.
black. As said previously, her attack frequency is too long.
Does
as
he
well
mention
as
ultra
her strong
talents?
attack animation, making her more likely to miss. You may question why she's the best
That's what I meant,
of the
yes.
three variants, and it's due to her ultra talent. Her ultra
Yes,
talents
sir.
decrease her attack frequency by nearly half, given a new trait which is Relic, and becomes immune to searches, which is huge late game. If you apply her level 60 talents and ultra talents, you'll get a unit that does a whopping 20,000 damage per second and 30,000 damage against
You're
Relic,
considering
and
this and yet she's still this
36,000
low?
damage against red and black. This sounds amazing, and it is. Though you have to understand that to unlock this, you'll need to spend 15 Dark Cat's Eyes on her and 700 NP for her.
I think
main
that's
talent.
fair.
This
I think
price
that's
is
fair
back to
for I think that's fair. However, I don't think he actually considered ultra talents. I think he talked about them, but he didn't change their ranking depending on them, if you know what I mean.
his rank, and the fact that there are other Ubers to spend your rare Dark Cat's Eyes on. Though if you only have her and you're willing to spend the resources,
Tab save when you
you're doing
close.
good. Shampoo is a simple range unit who guarantees a level 4
Hydrate?
It
I
reaches her dream
I gotta get
multi-hit.
water. You know what? I doubt he really says anything crazy for the next couple minutes, so let me just get a water real quick.
Up knocking back peons and behaves as a range crazed macho legs. Basic journalist that you can use if you're feeling basic. Another metal crowd controller, similar to Vega, though her stats and abilities are more welcoming. Sakura Sonic guarantees to slow and weaken for around 3 seconds, with a small 5% chance to land a critical hit. Of course, her critical hit is too small to just use her and her only, and again, metals aren't as big as a problem. Though her
Also
cat
not
combo
that big on
Ninjutsu Cute is what brings her up to the spot. This cat combo increases the percentage
I don't
of
know.
other
Sakura
critical
Sonic,
hits by
probably one of the
1%,
better
which makes it
anti-metals in the
useless
game.
In reality, you'll most likely just use Sakura for her cat combo, though her crowd control against metal is welcome.
4k DPS, by the way, for an anti-metal. Not bad.
point is his ability to resist and knock back traitless. Some may argue that he gets outclassed by Tourist Cat, and while in some cases it's true, his area attack and better standing range allows him to safely and eventually land his hits and knock back traitless. Alien is also
he's just a weird ass unit, unbalanced for current meta.
Breaking both barriers and shields, as well as spawn a level 2 mini
A guaranteed pierce shield is this low.
Piercing shields, at which Furluga does an incredible job due to
yeah,
his
he does.
700 standing ring, immunity to surge, and a guaranteed level 2 mini surge. Many can mention how he can be replaced by Aku Researcher, which is fair, though pairing them up will give you the anger management combo.
Having 700 range is really good for a guy. It is just his hair though.
Grateful Crane is popular due
Oh,
to
this
his
is pre-ultra
range,
form.
guaranteed knockback and freeze to Angel and floating for 5 seconds, and having one of the longest attack animations.
By the way, I mentioned the DPS on Sakura Sonic because a lot of medals that are a problem will arrive in general stages. Like, yeah, there are pure metal stages, but a lot of the time they're going to be like metal dogs that mix in with other units or with other enemies. So if you're using Sakura Sonic to status the dogs, then you can use her generally for other stages rather than just against metals, which is good for an anti-metal.
2-second attack animation was already problematic. Grateful Crane has an attack animation of nearly 11 seconds. The reason why he's further in the rank though is due to his insane range and rewarding abilities. 5 seconds.
Yes sir. 850 attack range.
Just reload so no units knock back the enemies. Galaxy Cosmo can work incredibly.
He's kind of frail though. Unfortunate.
If that situation occurs. Midsummer Rabbit is a summer variant of the White Rabbit, with her first form guaranteeing a slow.
She ain't that great. The only reason why she's up here is because this guy's a simp, I can tell.
Both forms are good, as she has a safe standing range for a crowd controller and damage output. She's mainly just a good crowd controller against angels, though.
Bro, what's funny about that is that she has strong against Angel, but even then she has worse DPS than Zeus, and worse range. And then Zeus is still this far low. Like, I think that's funny.
Both forms are good, as she has a safe standing range for a crowd controller and damage output. She's mainly just a good crowd controller against angels, though. Marauder Cat is considered to be one of the best metal critters in the game.
Worse than Sakura Sonic against metals, though. Best critter, sure. Anti-metal, not so much.
Chance of a critical hit. With an attack frequency of 5 seconds, you can expect him to land a couple of critical hits. He's an amazing metal critter, though at the end of the day, most will rely
50% is quite amazing.
For another unit.
And his low recharge time.
Ranger who is strong against zombies and nothing more. She has decent health and deals a good
pretty good damage against zombies, honestly. No piercing Omni Strike, unfortunately. Vega has a true form now, which makes her a lot better.
She may sound good, but her stats
50% my ass, huh? Oh, for critting, right,
she's
yeah.
Still a good unit that can pierce up to 250, which is what got her this far, but nothing more.
I mean, she's still good though. I think she still underestimated her.
His main selling point is being able to resist zombies and blacks with half a.
This guy's multi-hit is weird, but it does pierce.
He's more likely to slow the 2 targets. His Colossus Layer, Curse to Zombies, and Immunity to Toxic makes him a perfect counter.
Setting you up your opera? Alright. Feels like 0? Well, that's how all critters work.
Super Zeus is resistant to traded enemies with a guaranteed chance of weakening them.
Not a lot of HP though. He does weaken though. Oh, guaranteed weaken though. With 50% uptime. I mean, alright, good traded support, honestly.
To enemies that knock back, freeze, slow, and weaken. Night Beach Linlin is a mid-ranger with a strong and alien, a guaranteed break barrier.
Captain told you to come here? Alright. Who's Captain? Thank you for the follow, by the way.
She's okay, though there's
Captain Matt.
Against traitless, though, she could be a mid-ranger.
Night Beach Lilin is actually fine. I actually like her.
A small chance of dodging when the field heats up. Her recharge time is fast enough to even have 2 Linlins on the field. All in all, a decent anti-traitless and alien.
Why does it do that sound again?
The definition of a generalist. Ryu has a range of 480.
Well, there's a lot of generalists that aren't really definitions of generalists, but you know, whatever.
20% chance to land a savage blow. He'll do a good job.
His savage blow is cool. He's a cool unit, but like 480 range. I didn't realize he had so much range. That's actually a cool unit, honestly.
Due to her pushing back the enemies right before
he has more range than Uran.
Ryu could be a decent replacement as a generalist. Kaoluga is a huge backliner who has a 20% chance to knock back.
I love Kaoluga.
And a guaranteed chance of spawning a level 6 mini surge.
If his mini surge hits, it doubles his damage. This voice is very familiar. Who, mine or this guy's?
It can deal a huge amount of damage to even backliners. His small percentage of
yes sir, 710 range is crazy.
It could be viewed as a breaker blast in your loadout.
Kaoluga is not for the combo and the combo only. You are gaslighting.
unit who has a 40% chance to knock back red and black enemies. His
Voice
very
sounds
special
familiar
advantage
because of
is
his
like
shorts.
decent force damage
Oh,
range he has.
I don't know if he did
Another
shorts.
Uber you can replace in case Udo makes your Galaxy Cosmo miss his attack.
And yes, this is before the combo, I will say.
With that said though, he's been given one ultra talent, that being a guaranteed mini wave, which some praise as
Mini wave is not worth.
unit. Though similar to Ku, the requirements of Dark Cat Size and NP will steer players into
However, Ku is much more worthwhile to put in.
Unit in the Galaxy Gals, with a guaranteed chance of weakening floating and zombies for a near full uptime, with the bonus of being able to control
What combo?
Pegasus Spirit
Manic King Dragon plus Kaluga equals research up in combo. It's really good.
slow to all enemies for 6 seconds.
I need to stop pausing. Pegasus does need true form.
You're just left with a mediocre unit that weakens floating and zombies, waiting for the bucket to be kicked.
Her weekend's not even 100%, unfortunately. Or 100% uptime. That's some crazy damage, but only single targeting.
This may sound good at first, but his attack animation is too long to the point that it limits him even. This may sound good at first, but his attack animation is too long to the point
did you guys hear the loop? Did you guys hear that loop right there? I don't know why it reset, but it's weird.
The strongest alien in floating is also a nice bonus.
Yes, sir.
Good Cat Machine is an egg version of Cat Machine, with its traits.
Oh no, we were talking about Kaluga, sorry.
Rather than Red and Alien. Battles can be ignored as not only is there better alternatives, but due to the like.
Wait. I wonder what this guy thinks about Hanayama. I wonder what this guy thinks about Hanayama, because Hanayama, I think, has either the exact same or slightly longer attack animation. So just keep that in mind about Hanayama.
The strongest alien in floating.
What's up? Reacting to Neo's video of Uber's
version of Cat Machine, with his traits he's against being floating in metal rather than
resistant against metal without immune to knockback kind of sucks.
But due to the lack of
give him immune to knockback and I agree with this, but otherwise, nah.
Against floating though, he can be a decent tanker with a good probability of freezing them due to floatings not having that much of a knockback count, though his raw health is still not as much as other tankers.
You could also replace him with Octo. Just saying.
Specialist against floating with the ability of strong against and half a chance of knockbacking them. His health is surprisingly higher than average.
Who's not going to be here? Huh?
Them in the field for the entire run, and they're decent 11,000 damage.
9k DPS against floating is actually pretty good for 420 range. Not terrible.
Behaves similarly to Rio, though his activation of a 50% strengthen and damage is at 70%.
I mean, he's got a good health for strengthen.
Distance, which is huge, going up to 300.
And he also has pretty good LD. Honestly, I like him.
But his multi-hit is what murders him. Since he deals a good damage, even in
I like him. His multi-hit's kind of bad, but like that's about it.
Knockback, resulting in only a fraction of his damage landing them. Still, his Pierce is nothing to laugh about. Though make sure to protect him properly, as he only has a range of 390. The White Rabbit is part of the Dark Heroes, though most of her forms are nothing too eye-catching. The most appealing form
I don't use this unit very often.
Where she becomes strong against Red and Alien.
10k DPS seems good though. Oh wait, why is he using? He's using Ultra Form stats. I don't think the Ultra Form is worth it, so I'm gonna show you guys the True Form stats, just so that you guys aren't being lied to about White Rabbit. Are the Opera extensions gonna give me a virus? Probably not. White Rabbit, where he is. Like, here's the thing, though. I don't, like, let me listen to this again, but, like...
Though, of course, strong... Most of her forms are nothing too eye-catching. The most appealing form of her is the second form, where she becomes strong against Red and Alien, which is welcomed with her safe backliner range of 400.
I want to see if he talks about Ultra Form.
Recently, she has received an Ultra Form where all of her previous 3 forms are basically combined together into one. If you are in late game and are in dire need to dominate Red and Alien, her Ultra Form can do the job. Of course, as mentioned again and again, you'll have to use 15 Dark Cat Size, which for some would rather use it on other Ultra Forms later.
I feel like if
you find value in her,
I feel like if he's considering Ultra Form for White Rabbit, he should consider Ultra Talents and stuff. Like I feel like instead of showing Spectral Cat stats, he should have shown the Gray Fox stats, because this DPS is much worse. And the way he made it sound is that you don't really need the Ultra Form. Meanwhile, the Ultra Form has much better DPS, even if you just get her up to level 60 without getting the Ultra Form, it's not going to reach this amount of damage. So and then also the multi, it's different and all that. Like I feel like he kind of skimmed. I feel like he should have used Ultra or True Form stats instead of Ultra Form stats. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. But if you're going to not consider Ultra Talents, then you shouldn't consider Ultra Forms. Like you should do you know what I mean.
Killer.
Got an
Also,
emoji
the
keyboard.
Sakurai behaves
Nice.
similar to the previous Uber Hermit, though due to his resistance, small pierce, and bonus Savage Blow, Thanosuke gives
Wow,
the
that's a
ability
crazy
to be
zombie
a
killer.
mid-range zombie killer. He's incredible in zombie stages only, though
Pretty damn good against zombies, honestly.
M. Bison is one of the
Not a
more
lot of
underrated
Ultra Forms
units
were out
from
at the time of this
Street Fighter
video.
collab, as he has many opportunities and he takes advantage of them decently. Once he receives the fruit
Strong against against his targeted traits. He's actually not terrible.
To 8,000 with a strong health of above 100,000 against
Pretty
them.
not
He
bad.
becomes a strong specialist and comes with a guaranteed chance of breaking barriers and zombie killing. Though as he
I don't think Ultra Kaguya was. Well, oh, you know what? I think she was actually. Never mind. Ultra Forms have been out for a lot longer than I thought.
Lothstruck Lesser Demon is a White Day variant of Lesser Demon
Yeah.
God. Rather than dealing insane damage, he has a 30% chance of knocking back.
He still
freezing,
does
blowing,
good damage
or
per hit,
weakening
though.
units for 2.5 seconds.
Considering he
While
doesn't have a
his
true
performance
form,
is
he
especially
does
challenging,
good
the
damage per
difference in
hit.
ranking from this version and the original Lesser Demon is huge.
Especially
Even
with
if
his low
he is
recharge
hard to
time.
use, though it's best to use him in
You're not
stages
going to
where
use them
he's
for
not
his
spawned as
status.
much. Once you find
You're
his
really
stage,
not.
Lothstruck Lesser Demon will juggle the few enemies in the stage while dealing huge damage. Though again, the lack of true forms and talents make him weaker compared to other melees.
Yes, sir.
Raiden is another underrated Uber with his ability being able to guarantee
Underrated
knockback
when you're
against
putting
Red
him
as
in the
well as
first
against them. Against Red,
quarter
he did
of the
about
video? Come on
11,000
now.
damage per second with a health of above 100,000. It's amazing and all, but the existence of Courier Cat knocked Raiden a few pegs down in the ranking.
Raiden has longer range and knockback, so it gives him a little more usage.
A big health along with a guaranteed chance to slow blackened zombies for half their uptime, and has a 25% chance to land a Savage Blow.
That
Against Red,
25%
they have a lot
Savage
of
Blow
competition,
chance
though
effectively
zombies
increases her
completely
DPS by
damage control.
50%.
Her decent range and health help her do a good job of crowd controlling, though she can
Which is
only
crazy.
reposition herself once. Overall, a good anti.
Just don't let her get hit, she has 440 range. That's plenty, along with her HP.
Eva Unit 13 is a decent backlander with immunity to Surge, strong against Saku, and a small bonus of spawning some mini surges.
460 range, by the way. His multi is probably his only problem, in my opinion. Kaihime is not used nearly enough. How do you change your background? I think you go into like mods and stuff. Like there's a section on the left saying mods. But yeah, this is an Ultra Form. He is considering Ultra Forms.
Is her true form, where she gains the ability of Metal Killer, meaning that she'll take a percentage.
He said
of
true
the
form
metal
for
health
Ultra
of
Form.
each hit she lands, 12% to be exact.
You're thinking of the wrong Eva. It's the one. It's a different one. We'll get there.
This truly gives her the name of the Metal Killer, but it needs to be said that as much as metals are hated, there's not many stages where they become a genuine problem.
I think my problem with the whole Ultra Form and Ultra Talent thing is that he's considering them, but he's not considering them at the same time, which is kind of a pain in the ass because it's kind of confusing whenever he is mentioning them, but Ku is still so far down. Even though Ku with Ultra Talents, in my opinion, would be better than Princess Kaguya with Ultra Form. So I'm confused by how he's ranking them. But I mean, it's just confusing because it's kind of going back and forth, and so it's just confusing. I don't know.
Nothing that
I don't like it,
it's simply saying that
but I
Kaguya's
understand
powers can
it,
be
kind of.
expressed as metals don't appear in serious stages. Though if you developed anger issues towards them like me, she may be worth the Dark Cat side.
Metals suck until later on in the game, though.
Frosty Kai is a Christmas variant of the original Kai, though she's able to resist Angel and Alien instead.
Is this before Frosty Kai's true form? I think this is Kai's true form, right? Because she has really good HP. So yeah,
though aliens, she can surprisingly have her.
She has a really quick attack animation for a Kai variant.
And able to throw her in stages containing aliens. She can take 100,000 damage.
She is really good.
Which is incredible with her fast.
I think she's really good against her targeted traits. True form improve the health further, or I think this is true form.
Along with stages being more common, Frosty Kai falls more irrelevant as you progress. Though she's still surprisingly a good anti-alien tanker.
Yes, sir.
Fragile red nuker with immunity to waste.
Further? I thought 166,000 was how much she had. I could have sworn. Nope, that's the wrong guy. Mirrorkeys. Yeah, no. He had Ultra Form on or True Form on there.
Red, he deals a surprising 30,000 damage per second in a 370 range. With his
you don't know if he takes investments in mind?
Along with other red melee. But as said,
he may not account for MP and stuff.
As he only has a health of 29,000 health.
But here's the thing, if he's I feel like just like either way, if he's including Ultra Forms, then he should include Ultra Talents as an argument. That's all I think.
style, and should be
Also, that's some
taken care of,
crazy
as it only has a health
DPS.
of 29,000 health, which is
His only
extremely
weakness is
low.
his HP, but his DPS is crazy,
Evelyn
especially
Warren
against
is a
red.
backliner who has a long pierce with multiple small chances of landing an ability, specifically
Holy,
against
what
loaders.
is
They have a
what is
20%
that?
chance to either knock back, freeze, and or weaken
Against
slowing enemies
everything,
for 4
though.
seconds,
Definition
with
of
an uptime
generalist.
50%. Having an uptime of 50%
With the multi-hit as well, and really good LD.
350 is what justifies the ranking of EVA Unit 08. As when they do
I
this
think
with
she-
floating,
I think
they
it's
score a
good.
decent amount of
It looks
time. They
good.
also have a decent health, standing range, and a good amount of knockback.
Having a 4-second freeze on there is pretty damn good, in my opinion.
Each, you may not receive a debuff.
Wonder where he's gonna put Mola. Maybe very high,
Regard
honestly.
chose anti-alien and Aku, with all forms having an advantage. First form having half a chance
Kind
to
of
freeze both traits. and
below
increase
average
shield.
base
Although there are times for the
DPS,
freeze
especially
on
for a
stage,
multi-hit
and are
unit.
guaranteed. Aku is still a new trait, so there's no other replacement for freezing Akus. Second form, he's strong against Aku and Alien with immunity to waves. He can simply just
Kinda
use him for immunity
subpar
to
unit,
waves,
honestly.
as his strong against isn't good. due to
Help
his
you with
raw
Jigendo?
damage just being
Well, yeah.
too low.
Against
His
and
true
against
form
Aku,
his
he
real
is good though.
potential. Being able to deal massive damage against Aku enemies with
Does he have a
chance of
lisp?
breaking is his real potential. Being able to deal massive damage against
He does
Aku
have a
enemies
lisp.
with half a chance of breaking
Man,
shield.
I
And
feel
alongside
bad for
that,
people who
he's
have
the only
lisps,
unit in the
because so
Viking
many people make fun of him.
combo where the massive
Will
damage
make fun of
increases
him
by
for that.
10%, which is nice. Their damage per second is still a bit small for a nuker, even if we apply the massive damage. But
Even
it's
against his
cool.
traits, he
It is
dies
a
fast. He
really
does
damage
die fast, but his
competition for
damage is good
anti-Aku
against
units.
Aku.
Shidakiri Sparrow is an anti-angel and Aku with the
Was this
ability
before the
to
research
activate a
combo?
level 2 mini wave and curse against them for a near 90% uptime, alongside immunity to
Be back,
surge.
welcome.
Sadly, all of his
Let's
stats
King
don't
Rise up.
make any impact, just like White Knight Cyclops. Though similarly to him, he's a part of a single slot combo, that being Busted
Okay.
Phantoms, where it decreases
The research
recharge
combo
time
is here.
of
I
all
really
units
like
by
the single
0.87
slot research
seconds,
combo.
which is generally a big difference. Players will unlock his true
I do
form
like it.
solely for the purpose of the cat combo, as it literally saves you an extra slot for any other unit, rather than
Sir.
having to use 2 units for a small research
Never
combo.
seen anyone use this guy at all? Well, there's a reason why he's number 151,
having
alright?
half a chance of knocking back and or slowing angels, aliens, and Akus for an upward of 66%. She's simply a crowd controller against a
Opera,
semi-powered
sponsor me.
Though against Aku, she isn't as good as she isn't immune to searches, which are common in those traits, and lacks shield piercing, which some could argue you can simply add a shield breaker unit. Overall,
I feel like a unit shouldn't be made any worse just based off of what they're missing. You should only evaluate a unit on what they have rather than what they don't have, in my opinion.
a good job at crowd controlling the 3 traits.
But yeah.
Balrog, not to be confused with Lesser Demon's Cat's true form Balrog Cat, is another underrated unit from
That
the
is
Street Fighter
confusing,
class.
the whole
His
Balrog
innate is
thing.
extremely cheap to be sent out with what he has to offer. Balrog
But 10k
attacks both
DPS
red,
is
black,
really
and
nice
combat.
for those
In return,
traits.
Balrog deals a decent 11,000 damage per second against these units. He's best used in the start of zombie stages or outbreaks, but can be used outside of those stages due to his variety of traits. His recharge is long, and sometimes it's best to get specific Ubers that focus on
Variety of
one trait in
traits?
return of a stronger ability. Though Balrog still has
It is
decent
also a good
recharge.
range, yeah.
Madoka Kanamo is a backliner who has a long distance with a pierce of 250. Alongside that,
Does she target Relic? Does she target Relic with talents or something? I don't remember. The 550 range is really nice, with her LD as well.
A massive damage would have been better.
Oh, before true form?
Bata is a
Oh.
decent backliner who you can use outside of floating stages to deal with backline enemies.
Missing curse immunity is not that big of a deal. Changed my mind.
Hallowindy is a Halloween version of Windy, with her target being switched for Alien. Since Hallowindy doesn't have a true form nor talents, her true potential hasn't yet been reached. Still, she deals a decent 16,000 damage per second against Alien, with an acceptable
sir.
435 range, so she can still be put to good use.
Very good.
Holy Phoenix is a mid-range crowd controller who's strong against floating, black, and alien, as well as a guaranteed freeze against those 3 traits for near half his uptime. He does a decent job at his role.
Ultimate Windy
especially
is
in
best girl.
mid-stages, though most would rather bring a super rare.
Shongans with only 3500 DPS is kind of meh, but the freeze is nice. The guaranteed freeze is actually really nice.
White Butler
Guaranteed
Vigor
freeze
a
is
white
pretty damn
variant
good.
of Detective Vigor, with his guaranteed level 3 wave
This guy got a true form
ability
recently,
has a
right?
chance of piercing shields and or
Matt Shea and
piercing
Izanami
Black
against
Baku
Beyond
with
Spam?
half his
Bro.
uptime. Vigor is known for having a concerningly long attack animation, and though the same can be said for his White
You guys are
Butler,
funny.
if you take proper care of White Butler in the field, he can do some serious change in the battle. His immunity
Yes,
to
sir.
search is also nice, especially
Having his
since
his
White
level 3
Butler
wave is
don't
really
give a
nice.
reward, both players would rather take a safer alternative.
And he's immune to Surge, which
Reindeer
can be
Tarun
cool
is a
for
custom
Aku.
variant of the original Tarun.
Normal
Being able
Regular
to
did get an
knock
ultra
back
form,
against
too.
Black and Alien,
It's very
as well
true.
as having strong against them. He's also given Colossus Slayer. She's best.
Is that right? Is that right? I don't Wait, didn't the original Terran only have slow against? Why did Reindeer Terran get strong against before normal Terran did? That's actually crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I didn't realize that. Huh.
Best used against
She's
aliens
good.
as she
Yeah, she's
guarantees a
good.
knockback
Perfect
on each
counter for
hit, but
ultras. I know,
controlling
right?
her attack frequency makes it too
Vigler.
fast to the point where she makes other units miss. Her strong against is nice, as well as her decently fast recharge time. View her as a better alternative to Twin Stars.
I don't know about better alternatives. She's very different. She may have 4, like she may have the same targeted traits, but she also slows. Oh, wait, no, she's completely different from normal Terran. She knocks back. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, you can use her instead of Twin Stars. Hydrate?
View her as
Alright.
a better alternative to Twin Stars. Kaguya of the Coast is better than her original variant, which is Princess Kaguya. Her first form can be ignored, as Black's power crept
I know you
and
meant
aliens are
Opera.
known for their backliner. Her main selling point is her true form, which she guarantees a slow against Black, Alien, and Aku for 40% of her up.
Yes, sir. 50% pure shields at 440 range is also pretty good.
Not only break Aku's shields, but also crowd control them at the same time. So that's what makes her better than previous anti-Aku.
Pretty good.
It should be said that due to her 50% chance of the shield being pierced, you'll usually have her pierce shield each 18 seconds due to her semi-slow attack frequency.
I don't know about usually. It's kind of just eh. And bad against Surges? That's true, but she also has other targetings than Aku, so she can still be used against them. Pretty good LD, decent DPS against Red and Angel. Not a terrible unit, honestly. This collab was fever dream. You need to make food, alright.
Shinji Cat is an Evangelion variant of Baby Cat who shares near identical.
Oh, Baby Cat alternatives. Right.
Frequency and target. The target can be ignored as neither Baby
12k DPS at level 30 though. With
rather their melee stats
that's
the reason why Shinji
that's
Cat
not
is
bad.
early in the ranking compared to Baby Cat is due to their attack frequency being faster in exchange for lesser attack power.
That's honestly not terrible. I kind of like this unit.
Damage per second. Due to them having melee stats, Shinji won't be able to land more hits than Baby, as they'll both perish in the field.
Where's Reget's best power pro baseball girl? Probably later on, honestly. Unless we already passed her.
No true form or talents, draw Shinji further back.
Low recharge time as well, though. Knockback against metal is also pretty good.
Mystery Girl Yuki is a backliner nuker who deals massive damage against floating enemies and nothing more. She does her job well, though due to her semi-long attack animation,
she does indeed.
She may have some problems as Ku, though not as much. Still, her 19,000 damage per second against floating is welcome.
I don't know what you mean by same problems as Ku. She does not have even similar to the same problems as Ku. I'd say her only weakness is either subpar DPS or subpar HP. Her attack frequency isn't that bad at all.
19,000 damage per second against floating is welcome. Ice Cat is a ranged crowd controller against Red, who in her true form.
Ice Cat is underrated. 5k DPS for what she does is actually really good, especially with her recharge time. She is underrated. Ice Cat is absolutely underrated. She's just kind of frail. She's really frail, actually. 34,000 HP is low. Crazuki is better, let's be real. Oh, this is Ultra Form again. He's doing Ultra Form again.
Where he gains Aku typing as well as having the ability to counter Surge, which
you're not going to want to Ultra Form him though. This is why I think he should instead use this is why I think he should just either not talk about Ultra Talents or not talk about. He should either talk about Ultra Talents and Ultra Forms, or he shouldn't talk about Ultra Talents and Ultra Forms. But instead, he's kind of combining them, and it's kind of bullshit. He is being biased. Like, Nobunaga does, in fact, have Ultra Form. I just don't like that he's providing the stats for Ultra Forms, but he's not considering Ultra Talents all that much. It's a bit of. I wish he was providing True Form stats right here. But it's a problem.
Level, damage,
I think it's a problem at least.
This
but
is the main appeal, but it needs to be said that he will still receive damage from the searches.
His main appeal is freeze against black. That's 100% uptime. That's his main appeal.
Enemy searches are hated. There's other
Thank you for the follow, Guslino. You think the list is biased and not good, to be honest? Well, what else do you expect from a tier list? Let's be real. It's going to be biased. Like I'm not trying to disprove his opinion or anything. I like all I'm really looking for is like quality. I'm looking for facts. I'm looking to make sure he doesn't say anything terrible and all that. Like I'm just reacting because somebody told me to. When will you upload this reaction on YouTube? Probably sometime next week.
Sadly, he can't pierce shields.
He
so
could
it
talk
can
about
be
mainly
argued
the
that
true
his
form
piercing
within Ultra
damage
Form
of
as an
10,000
additional
per
point,
second
yeah.
alone can break the shields. In the
Everything
end,
has
if
mixed
Zen uses a
opinions.
determined
Yeah,
logic
live with
and
it.
have 15 dark cat size to spend, he may be a good option.
Oh yeah, if you just casually have 15 dark cat size to spend, you know.
Ramasao Tome is a backlaner who has a long distance with a pierce of 150, a guaranteed chance of freezing Black and Angel for a 25% up.
Guaranteed freeze like that is actually really good.
The freeze should be viewed as a bonus,
Especially with
and the only
LD.
benefit she'll have is her immunity to surge, since there really isn't
Guaranteed
much of a
freeze is never
competition
something
for
that should
backliners
just be a
compatible.
small
In
benefit.
the end, she's a basic, decent backliner who's immune to surge. Body Author is a character against zombies, who deals insane damage against them. If we include the insane damage, Author will be dealing 12,000 damage.
This guy's really good against zombies.
For a range of 370, it's a bit too risky and not as rewarding. Thankfully, in his true form, he's given a 30% chance to dodge attacks from zombies.
Yes, sir.
And in general, has a fast recharge time. His talent of Soul Strike is also nice. If you
It
want
is
to
not
get
my
that
favorite
with
unit.
all the
I actually
zombies
kind of hate
very
him, but
low.
I know he's good.
T-Short Kai is a black and zombie tanker and nothing more.
I've never seen Ranma, one half.
A true form, she won't last very long in the field. The good
Highly
thing,
recommend,
though, is that
alright.
both of her traits don't have other Ubers that can tank them. in the
Wow,
field,
this
so
guy
she
has a
will be the
really
only
quick
option
attack
if you ever need a
frequency.
unit
I didn't
that can
realize
take either
that.
traits.
Huh.
The exclusive Uber from the Royal Fest. Princess Cat is a backliner who guarantees a level 6 mini wave and a weaken against
551 range with a mini wave is actually really cool.
She should be best treated similarly to Emperor Cat, where she isn't your main Uber, rather an Uber who'd make sure
Her
enemies
weaken
won't
is really
destroy her. Her
long.
range in mini wave is
Like,
nice,
it's not
and
100%
she's a strong
uptime,
wave
but
in a safe
I
distance.
like her. I think she's a cool unit.
Generalist.
How is Princess Desai? I have no idea. I think it's fine though.
King is a backliner who deals a decent amount of damage in return for an extremely fragile health.
And then Mola King is Desai.
Chance to dodge attacks from any enemy.
This low? He's not that great.
Become invincible in the field. This level 5 surge also doubles
Don't
his attack
overestimate
with
him.
decent spawn range that can even hit enemy backliners. It should be said that even with
I
a
hope you
high
guys are
80%
joking.
chance of dodging, there's still a chance of the dodge not occurring, resulting in a quick death. So if you're willing to risk it, it can be a decent range Uber that can reach enemies with different ranges. Luke is one of the newer Ubers from the Street Fighter collab. With the
Luke's
ability of
interesting,
being
but
targeted
having
with
strong
enemies,
against anything with the
a
trait
5%
plus is...
chance of a
the Savage
blow,
Blow
and a
ain't that
10%
big of a
chance
deal.
of piercing shield.
But the strong against
This
anything with the
is
trait is
Gal,
nice.
which is praised for being an
80%
amazing
dodge?
generalist.
Yeah, and then there's that
Her
20%
biggest
no
advantage is
dodge and
that
getting
Luke
one
has an
shot.
attack range of 400 compared to Gal's 470. Luke's chance to pierce is too low to be reliable
Don't
on, and
compare...
the Savage
Don't compare him to a Fest Uber. Don't use that as an argument to make him sound worse. Fuck off.
Blow should be treated as a bonus. With those flaws aside, Luke becomes a viable generalist that deals over 8,000 damage per second and can take over 100,000 damage from traded throughout your battle.
What does he mean by over 8,000? He only has 7,500 DPS. Huh? I'm confused.
Haste the Punisher is the definition of a wall, where he has a raw health of 400.
Definition of wall.
He's a good tanker against any stages where you need a wall in order to not let the enemy progress further.
Yes, sir. His toxic immune is really nice.
Ranking, though, is because a generalist
Mola is Dark Funnel without slow. Sure, I guess.
He performs a great job at.
Hades should be higher, honestly. Having somebody that can just tank like that is really nice. Back, welcome back. It's the Great Wall of Hades.
Perform a better job at blocking the wave. Being a tanker against Red and Alien is nice, as Red is known for having heavy.
Wait, did he... Who is he comparing Cat Machine to? Sorry, I don't have subtitles on because they kind of get in the way.
Is a tanker against Red and Alien, with his true form being able to block waves. His ability to block waves can be set aside, as Octopus Cat can and will perform.
Oh, he's comparing Octo to Cat Machine. I don't think it should be set aside though, because Cat Machine works a lot better against Berserk Quarry and the Alien Pig.
Red and Alien is nice, as Red is known for having heavy hits.
Yeah, he has
For
low
Alien,
range.
Sometimes Rover doesn't do his job right, so it can be nice to throw Cat Machine in. Ultra talents can be ignored, though his immunity to knockback and his normal talents can be useful if you have a difficult time countering energy. Overall, a decent tanker against the traits he's against.
Fair.
Wolfshell DL is a ranged unit who has a dream mode
7,500
with 40%
DPS.
chance of knocking
Pretty
back
good.
Angels and aliens. Her stats will be the main reason you'll be bringing her in your
Oh yeah,
list. She
Toucan
deals
as well.
7.5
Yes,
thousand
sir.
damage per second in a standing range of 415. Plus,
Oh yeah, the Red Behemoth Sleipnir, that's true. He's not immune to freeze though.
Hatsune Miku 16. Plus, her knockback against angels and aliens is a
I don't know if he mentioned talents, but she has an immunity to wave talent, which is nice for a general attacker.
who's strong against Black,
Gives her a better
level 2
niche.
slow, and level 2 surge attack. Against Black, she doesn't find enough job.
Oh,
Her biggest
that
pro
that
is
surge
level
is
2 surge
nice.
That can spawn with 400 more than her standing range. It deals
That surge is
5,000 damage
nice.
per second. That surge shouldn't be ignored, though with that said, she still does have a low range, although they gave her a decent amount of health. Huntress Tarun is a ranged crowd controller who guarantees a slow
This is
against
before her
red
true
enemies, while
form,
80%
so
uptime, has the 20%
kind of just
chance to
ignore
land a
her.
Samus blow, has Colossus Slayer, and in her
With her
true form, gains strong against
Oh.
her true target. She does a good job
This isn't true form stats. So I'm assuming true form came out while he was making his script or whatever. Because these are not, there's no strong against here, but she is strong against. But that's all that changed between evolved form and true form.
Form of strong against makes her even more stronger. Colossus Slayer, she'll do a good job against both Baron Seal and Hippo. All in all, she's a good anti-red and blue. Though if you want me to give you a reason on why I ranked her this early, it's mostly because her stats are weaker compared to the next Ubers, and both
I don't think he's considering recharge time and cost. She's only 3,000 cost with really low recharge time, which makes her really good for a completely different reason than a lot of Ubers.
Kenshin is a specialist with a decent range and strong against Black, with a guaranteed chance of knocking them back. Black is extremely power crept by Pizza and Bomber Cat, so there's less appeal.
Yeah, but they don't have as much range as she does.
Her talents, which grants her the ability to
That's true. Targeting Relic is really nice.
For Ubers to counter.
That makes her really good.
For an anti-relic damager and crowd controller,
Kenshin's really good. I wish I could get Kenshin on my new account so I can use her.
In stages besides the Infected King, he can constantly push back zombies, which is good since they are one of the traits that push back the hardest.
This guy's pretty good. You got her in your JP account? Nice.
Dead zombies, giving you more time to spawn in new units. All in all, a decent anti-zombie Uber that Big Sal has developed PTSD.
Free Ultra Form Kenshin? Wait, Kenshin has an Ultra Form, that's right. I actually kind of want to look at that. Because that came out since this video came out, obviously. But I want to look at Kenshin Ultra Form. Because I forgot that existed. Let's see. So, more range. I think the DPS is the same. I think more HP. More HP, more range, lower recharge time, and that's it. Oh, Mini Wave. Oh, God. Her Ultra... I want to use her Ultra Form. This sounds sick. Her Ultra Form sounds sick. Is that just me? I love that. Is that just me? That might just be me, but... Is this close enough for you? I love how it's like not... Oh my... That design is crazy. I love that Ultra Form. I love that Ultra Form. And getting more range is obviously nice. Oh my... I love her Ultra Form. I love that. I love the look on that. Like, it's not the best Ultra Form by no means. But, like, it's amazing. I love the look of... Like, it looks really cool. It looks like it'd be really cool. Slightly shorter CD? I didn't even notice that. Oh, wait, no, I did notice that. Cooldown. Yeah, I did notice that. 5,700 DPS, along with slow against Relic is nice. Yes, sir.
Unlocking new opportunities. Overall, a good crowd controller against her traits. Archer's a
Dude, I've been a Kenshin simp. Now I'm even more a Kenshin simp. She might be my favorite, Bajira.
Up to 300 and
this guy got this high up? Okay. This guy being this high up is crazy.
Pretty good, honestly. Ninja Girl Tomoe is a unique unit with having a 50% chance to freeze traitless and Aku enemies for half her uptime. Those two units are
6,000 DPS. I didn't even realize her DPS was that high.
Multi-hit can reach upwards of 430 pierce, though it's just 1/3 of her damage and it leaves a small gap where she doesn't hit, though it doesn't become a big enough problem. Her half uptime and 50% chance.
She's an interesting unit. True form is nice. Would be nice.
That high up. Overall, she does a good enough job against two of the most needed anti.
Yuki, no Yuki as fave is crazy? I said favorite, I didn't say best. Obviously, Yukimura is the best, but Kenshin's my favorite.
Trait. A Dragon Emperor unit who guarantees a knockback and slow to traitless enemies for 55% uptime. Since he targets traitless, he competes.
I say this is fair.
Thus giving him a bigger lead in the ranking. It's just funny how a Uber's target can change the value of them entirely.
Even without targeting traitless, though, he has really good HP, range, and DPS. Like, he's going to be on the field for a long time, no matter what trait he targeted. But he's guaranteed to knock back and slow traitless, which is nice.
It's funny how a Uber's target can change the value of them entirely.
Main account has not gotten Kenshin, by the way. I will say. My main account does not have Kenshin. At least not her normal form. I think I have Easter Kenshin. I do want her, though.
Crazy Yuki is a nuker.
He does look like a Dragon Emperor. What are you on about? But yeah, Crazy
With her
Yuki.
massive damage, she deals 19,000 damage per second.
That's a
against
lot
her.
of damage.
She outcompetes Mystery Girl Yuki since Crazy has more traits she can go against. Though something to keep in mind is that Crazy Yuki behaves similarly to Ku, where she has a long attack frequency and animation as her, though not as bad. But make sure you don't have any units that push back.
Ku still has a
damage, as
longer
that can
attack
make Crazy
animation.
Yuki miss. Bunny and Canard is an Easter variant to Warlock and Pierre, with the difference being typing, which Bunny and Canard aims on damaging red and either Black, Zombie, or Aku, depending on the form.
Let's be real, he's only used for Aku.
A decent 14,000 damage per second against these enemies. So just like the original variant, that's the only traits they can attack, so they can only work in stages that contain these traits. In their third form, they attack only red and Aku, though they're also given Surge immunity, which is nice since Akus are known to spawn surges. And Bunny Canard can just whoop energy whenever they feel like it.
Nice
Overall,
math.
A unit that limits itself, though in return does a great job for when he works.
He's very good, yeah, whenever he
Michelle
does
is a
work.
ranged Stuber who is strong against floating and has the guarantee for when he works. Michella is a ranged Stuber
Michella? Michella, alright.
who is strong against floating and has a guaranteed chance to freeze them for half her time. Her stats are right and all, and she does a genuine good job against floating, but in her talents, she's given a new typing of Relic.
Yes, sir. He actually mentions talents. I like that he mentions talents.
Relic, let alone guarantee the freeze. So this lets Michelle
Yeah,
shine. And with
very
her strong
good.
against her survivability,
How is a unit this good this far low? Not even in the top half.
Floating and Relic.
Oh god, I'm not even halfway done with the video yet.
A good crowd controller against Alien with being resistance against them and a guaranteed chance of breaking their shield, along knockbacking them and slowing them.
Misley above Michelle is kind of crazy.
Making sure no alien gets close to your units. The
But she's
theory of
good.
the Misley
I do
system
like
is
Misley. I think Misley's
constantly
good.
push back the enemy so hard to the point that your units can get into the alien's backliners range.
Syndrome, that's not the only reason why she's not bad because of that.
Exaggerated and rarely does it actually
Harris-
occur. Just
What do you mean how is Air above Misley? Air has really good LD. Especially with if you're considering Ultra Form.
overall, a genuinely good anti.
I'd say Air is above Misley in my opinion.
Ryder's ability to freeze Angel for more than half her uptime is a ability
You are
that
biased,
strong
but it's
strong
alright.
strong
Everybody has
strong
opinions.
this list.
Everybody
Also,
is biased.
due to
It's alright.
75% recharge time, you may even be able to
Guaranteed freeze against Angel?
anytime that
I'm
you Ryder
okay with this
with an
unit.
amazing ability, though her not so
You like
great
Misley?
base
I can
is
tell.
quite a bit.
And I don't blame you.
Coppermine is a ranged anti-floating who has a 75% chance of freezing floatings for an uptime of 88%. To be honest, she does a decent job in her role. Of course, due to
She does a
her
very
knockback
good job of her
guarantee,
role.
There may be some times where she gets unlucky and her ability doesn't.
Ultra
actually
Form
hit
does have
the blast.
knockback
Decent
in
ranged
Air.
fast recharge allows her to be stacked, and if you want to spend 15 dark cat size and NP, her mini search can make it so that her freeze can have the entire uptime.
It's
of
not
her
worth
attack
it, but
frequency.
go ahead if you want to.
Underrated Uber, where her ability is surprisingly decent.
Her mini surge is also in an inconsistent range. Keep it in mind.
The original Kana, being able to deal massive damage against floating and alien with a guaranteed chance of spawning a level 1 surge.
Only a level 1 surge is a huge downgrade from normal Kana's 3. Normal Kana has a level 3 surge attack in her true form. Gravity Ultra Form win? I don't know.
And especially alien, as she'll stand in a safe range while her last hit can chip away the alien backliners.
This Kana doesn't have.
Surge is taking big
That's something I saw, but still hasn't gotten it in the game. Yeah.
chunks of the
Which is
health on
weird.
mid-range enemies. Overall, a good summer Uber. Booth's main selling
Yep,
point
still
is
good
being
though.
A big backliner that has a long distance with a
That's a huge backliner. 900 range? Or 900 LD, 550 standing range? The curse is weird though.
Bull Rider Vars is a good crowd controller against zombies and aliens as he decent damage.
Yeah, that's her curse.
A good crowd controller against zombies and aliens.
Normal Kana True Form is very good against Kurokok and a lot of other things. Yeah, why curse? That's weird.
Onto his range to deal damage. His consistent attack frequency and guaranteed knockback and slow will give zombies a hard time. Zombie killer and half a chance of a barrier breaker
Not
is nice
bad.
to have as well.
I think this is cool.
One of the more underrated War God Ubers. Yoshimoto is a ranged
This guy
crowd
being
controller
above
with a
Kenshin is kinda
250, strong against flash,
messed
with a
up.
Guaranteed chance of weakening them for the entire uptime. Bomber Cat mostly covers crowd control.
I think
so
Kenshin
Yoshimoto's
deserves to be
permanent
higher up than this guy, but
completely
whatever.
swept under the rug, as his peers can
Maybe
reach
that's
the
just my
backline
bias.
and
You know
his
what? That's
talent
not a
is
maybe.
also
That is my
advanced,
bias.
given Aku typing, which allows him to be strong against them with
That
the
is
near
definitely my
perfect weakening
bias.
as well. With his strong, he'll mostly likely outlive the Search's Aku will draw, though due to their shield, he may not be able to weaken the Aku backline.
Imagawa is war? What do you mean? We already saw Kenshin. You need to grind the stones for it, but you're currently grinding stones for Mushroom? Fair.
Sakura's main advantage is her ability to Soul Strike, as it allows her to get rid of the temporarily dead zombies.
I also really want Sakura, but this collab hasn't come back in ages.
Though the semi-long recharge time
She's really cool though.
Sakura on the field if there's huge damage.
I do like her HP tanking and all that.
Black Pearl Yuki is another ranged nuker from the Toshi collab, where her traits are Angel.
Oh, hey, this is the music I would keep in my videos.
To break barriers. The barrier breaker is nice, as it
Bring back Fate collab, I know, right?
Alien she targets, it has a barrier. Both Angel and Alien is nice, as her 16,000 damage per second helps her deal good chunks of damage, and Aku typing from her talents can be ignored.
Yeah, there's another Yuki. There's 3 Yukis.
Very risky to bring in Aku stages. Still, she's a
and Evangelion, yeah. But mainly Fate.
The first and only English exclusive Uber. Dachi is once again another range nuker.
I forget this one's English exclusive.
With a guaranteed slow for an uptime of 25%. She deals 18,000 damage per second.
Only a 2 second slow is kind of underwhelming, but with massive damage on the side, that's very good.
Though Osaka Miku focuses on Red and Angel, has a tiny bit better
Savage Blow is cool.
And has the chance to land a Savage
the multi-hit that gets progressively stronger. 460 range is pretty good.
Air is a long-distance alien specialist who would resistance against alien and
yeah, it is our only one.
Upon Ultra Form,
oh, this is Ultra Form Air, by the way. Just want to say that. Keep in mind, these are level 60 stats. Keep that in mind. People, I don't know if a lot of people will really look, like a lot of new people that are looking at this, I don't know if they'll really see the level 60. That's different than the level 30. So I think it's a problem that he's not specifying that the stats are at level 60, because, you know, it's a huge difference between 30 and 60. So you need to, you know,
thanks to their
specify.
275 peers, they'll make sure no alien in the field has a barrier, plus get their health chipped away. Now once Ultra forms, their peers increases to 325, meaning that nearly all aliens will get knocked back, thus giving you the ground. One of the better Ultra forms, for when you just want to get rid of aliens.
Yes, sir.
So the requirements for unlocking the form is what draws them back. Evo Unit 00 is...
A lot of the time it is the level 60 stats that make it good. That is a lot of the time.
Ubers with a wave shield. With a range of 350, he's able to block all waves.
The 600k HP against aliens doesn't really matter that much. However, if you really want Air to be tanking, then you can also invest in the weaken and dodge. So yeah.
While getting hit less than the common wave shield unit, Octopus Cat. This sounds amazing at first.
I also think it's funny that at the beginning, hold up, I just want to say at the beginning, I think it's funny that he said that everything would be, all unit stats will be showed at level 30. That was not the case. This was not the case. he kind of fucked up there. He did a fucky wucky, but it's all right. I understand. Not everybody can be perfect. Where was I? Ah, whatever. I think I was around here.
Cheat, slow, and weaken Uber is not common. His alien target is also really nice. Tokyo Miku is another Uber with the unique ability of wave
blocker at 350 range is nice.
The reason why Tokyo Miku surpasses Evo Unit 00 is due to her fact
it was probably rushed, but it is a long video to be fair, so mistakes happen.
Thus weakening Evo's usage. Tokyo Miku will do a fine enough job.
They do have pretty much the exact same niche.
More relevant in some instances.
Wave blocker's nice on them.
Who guarantees a knockback against Black and Angel with half a chance of spawning a third.
I disagree. I don't like that this guy's higher than the 2 wave blocker Ubers, because this guy's really not that good. Like, his surge is only 50% chance. Hold up, does he have a true form? Let's see, does he have a true form? Because if he has a true form that guarantees the surge, then sure. But if the surge isn't guaranteed, then his DPS is terrible. He doesn't even have a true form. Yeah, no, I disagree with him being above the wave blockers. I disagree.
But thanks to his long distance that pierces up to,
because wave blockers can be ranged wave blockers or mid-range wave blockers can be really nice.
Knockback is amazing since they'll hit most of Angels and Blacks, resulting in amazing crowd controlling and the half a chance of
Blacks don't need to be knocked back. Angels, however, that can work.
Spirit guarantees the knockback, which adds more to his crowd controlling. Overall, a good unit who makes Black and Angels enemies easier to handle. Varus is a
Sure.
Dragon Emperor's Uber who has half a chance of knocking back.
This guy's good, though. I like this guy. I like Varus, especially with his relic talent.
Standing range, he can crowd control decently against range black, even if you have Bomber Cat.
His relic talent gives him really good later game usage.
There really isn't much units in general who can constantly crowd control.
Mighty Cat really doesn't do wave blocker well.
He's this high in this ranking. A decent crowd controller against
unfortunately
isn't too expensive to unlock for its useful perks.
Same reason why Hellward and Emma doesn't do it amazingly.
Against Black and Angel. Due to its amazing quarter of 500,000 health, you more than likely always stay on the field, shipping the enemy's health. There really isn't anything else.
Yeah, this guy's a lot of HP and pretty damn good DPS.
Decent amount of damage every now and then. Simply a good tanky generalist. Kunio-kun being the exclusive Uber from the River City collab is a melee in his first form.
This guy's a combo, right?
In his second form. His stats can be ignored as his main usage comes
yeah, Super Cat's not going to be doing a whole lot of wave blocking, unfortunately. But this guy has a good combo. This guy does have a good combo, I will say.
Boost your wallet and generate you money quicker, especially in Arena of Honor and Cat Claw Dojo. The unit itself is
Cat Claw Dojo. Cat Claw Dojo. Got a plat ticket? I do wish you luck. He does look... Well, that's just all pixelated characters. You can say anybody with pixels is Mario character.
75% uptime, which pierces up to 250 thanks to his
That's a good slow on Angels, honestly.
Standing range, which will let him land his hit safely.
Yeah.
Great Angel crowd controller overall.
His damage is kind of mad though. I want to hear this.
Who's immune to waves,
you got Balaluga? Not terrible.
His stats are decent, though his talents is where his true potential unlocks. He's given Surge immunity.
Sorry, I said your name talking about like normal pixels, you know, pixelated sprites and stuff.
A search immune generalist, which is something we don't really have, so it gives him leeway. Talents also give him a 30% chance to spawn a level 1 search attack, which is decent. Level 260, he's given ultra talents, with his main one being a faster attack frequency. This faster attack frequency lets him have a quicker chance of spawning a search, along with stacking his general damage per second. If you fully max search attack,
Balaluga +1, that sucks.
You have a wave and search immune generalist who can deal 33,000 damage per second, which is insane. Of course, this all comes with a hefty price of NP and Dark Cat size, though he's definitely one of the better Ubers to invest your.
I like how he says all of that, and then Anubis is only number 96. Like, excuse me. You got a dupe from a legend ticket? Damn, that's unfortunate. But yeah, he says all of this stuff about Anubis, and then Anubis is barely even in the top 50%. Like, that's crazy. He is underappreciated. He's under fucking Aset. How is he under Aset? How? Aset needs a true form. I cannot wait until Aset gets the true form. Because she will be really good. I have a feeling. I have a feeling she'll be really good. He might be crazy, but it's alright. Baja slow immune is not that worth it. Save your NP for something else, or until something needs to be invested in. Tengu has a true form now, by the way. It doesn't make that much of a difference, but he does have a true form. Neo having weird opinions again. I think they're fine for the most part. Not everybody likes Anubis as much as I do.
Chance of knocking back Red and Angels is just a good crowd control every now and then. Overall, a good Red and Angel remover. Gravity is an alien tanker who, with resistance against them, guarantees breaking barriers.
Tengu's true form is kind of meh, but it might be worth it if you have the spare fruit. Also, Gravity being this low is kind of criminal. He's like one of the best alien/relic tankers, while also being one of the best waivers in the game.
Damage to nearly
So,
every enemy
but whatever.
field, which is amazing.
And his low recharge time.
Warp, and wave
He's one of the best general tanks in the game.
Will help you fight off aliens a hefty amount. All in all, a good alien tanker and waver.
Oh wait, did Gravity not have relic talents at the time? If Gravity didn't have relic talents at the time, then I kind of understand that more.
It's a zombie rusher who deals massive damage against them. With a range of 340, she deals an insane 28,000.
You know, he didn't mention it, so I'm assuming it wasn't out.
Sadly, since zombies barrow, she will more than likely die before you're able to spawn another floor Kalissa. Though the 20,000 DPS is just too much to ignore.
Zombies don't have a lot of range, so she probably won't be getting hit.
Her amazing damage per second will help you clear out any zombies she outranges. Aoshi is a long-range
13.7?
Uber who
Yeah,
can
that
carry
was
upwards of
less than 9 months
250,
ago.
being able to be strong against floating in angels as well as having half a chance of freezing them for 86% uptime. His main usage comes down to freeze, as though it's only half a chance. 6 seconds of freezing with a Pierce of 250 is too good to pass up. His strongest is used more as a
Yeah, but it's not guaranteed, and it's also not even up until his next attack. So I think his freeze is okay. I don't think it's that great, but it's cool. DPS is meh.
Valentine's variant of Aphrodite has her target switched from massive against alien to massive
Only
against red and
3k
black.
base
She deals 12,000
DPS.
damage per second against red
And does she
black,
have
which
less
is
standing
insane.
range than normal Aphrodite? Doesn't normal Aphrodite stand at 600?
There isn't much red and black backliners for her ability to be fully used. She still does an amazing job against the semi.
She does do a great job though, I can tell.
Tropical Kalissa is a summer variant of Kalissa, with her targets being switched for red.
Tropical Kalissa is like the courier before courier existed.
The main reason
Really
why
good.
Tropical Kalissa surpasses Floral Kalissa is due to her typing, as though red is one of the more power crept targets. Having a
Yeah,
red
600.
deals 20
Also,
damage
Pixel, I don't
per
allow
second.
links
There's
just because I don't
multiple
want
anti-red
scams
mid-range.
and stuff in my
Red is known
chat.
for being melee, so her
Not that I
ult
think
is
you would, I'm
full.
just saying. I
Overall,
don't like
a great
links.
anti-red mid-range nuker. Togaluga is a backliner who's immune to waves and triples their damage on the first knockback. He's given an insane 100 knockbacks, which increases his survivability. Once
This guy is still kind of underrated, but it's a Rickroll. Damn, I am. Oh, sorry. I'm so glad I. You want a Rickroll? You want a Rickroll? Huh? You want a Rickroll? There you go. Oh, I did it again. Whatever.
Since he can reposition many times, anything that hits him will cancel his attack. Overall, a save unit to bring that can deal chunks of damage if left unbothered. Kintaro is an Ultra Souls Uber with being able to
Sorry, I was ignoring the video for a second. But yeah, that's another reason to, you know, do that.
Octopus may have a hard time blocking wave. Sadly, his potential gets locked from surges and enemies with long range, since as said before, he has 100.
I think this guy's really underrated though. I think he's really underrated because 9k DPS at 445 attack range with immune to waves is really nice. Just don't let him get hit, but, you know, understandable.
Kintaro is an Ultra Souls Uber with being able to slow and land savage blows from his 3-part multi-hit and long distance. In his first form, he can be viewed as
This guy's pretty good.
House,
Mainly because of his LD though. His damage isn't amazing, but 500 standing range is really nice.
With half a chance of slowing and or cursing angels for an uptime of 60 to 75% uptime. Thanks to his 3-part multi-hit, he'll more than likely activate those abilities. Curse is niche as the uptime isn't permanent, so it loses value, though it can be viewed as
Their argument was that he gets juggled. That's what their argument was against Shishalan, unfortunately. And he is right. He is right about that.
Against angels that deals good amount of damage to them.
Yes, sir.
The biggest glow up any Uber has ever received.
Really?
King is part of the Metal Select collab, where he has half a chance of knockbacking and or.
I mean, honestly, that surge will do a lot. That surge goes a long way on him since it's guaranteed.
Notably, a level 1 surge attack. Jupiter King can be viewed as a better range and
He did have a glow up. That surge is a big deal.
Will more than likely spawn outside his
Effectively doubles his damage.
He deals 9,000 damage per second, which is amazing with the other abilities he's given. A great alien crowd controller. And
he was not balanced around surge, and then he got surge.
Extremely cheap to unlock. One of the more underrated Ubers from the Evangelion collab. Wonder is
Evangelion?
Zombie nuker who deals 26,000 damage per
I mean, they have a lot of damage.
400 and amazing survivability.
They have a lot of damage on their targeted traits. Holy.
Which is astonishing. Simply an amazing angel and zombie nuker.
Never seen the Uber? It's Evangelion collab.
Rabbit Satoru is a backliner who guarantees slow against traitless for 57% uptime with a long distance that pierces upwards of
50. Just say 5 seconds, my man. Your main zombie nuker, nice. This guy's damage is underwhelming, but he has good recharge time and good slow, as well as good LD, so very good.
Though can sometimes not be enough to fully crowd control, and his inner long distance is only 100, the common being 150, meaning that enemies may easily get into his blind spot, though that rarely ever happens, and with his uptime problem,
I don't know about rarely. It just depends on your meat shields on the stage.
Put out correctly, your 2 Rabbit Saturos
Yeah.
can permanently slow all
Saturo, he is saying it weird, but it's yeah. Oh yeah, he also misspelled it, but yeah. Think of just ignore the way he spells it. It's Satoru as in Satoru Gojo. Satoru Gojo. You know, the honorable one. This guy is an ultra form now, but he does have a good combo. Also, where are his stats? Why'd he not include the stats? Where are the stats? Show me the stats. I want the stats. Where are his stats? Did he forget his stats? He's not a combo sleeve. He's actually really good otherwise.
That one slot difference can be the difference between a victory or a loss. Figler itself is
Oh, there's his stats. Okay.
animation and lack of peers makes him more
I was
likely
about to
win.
show you guys
But when
his
he hits,
stats.
It can be very rewarding thanks to his level 3 wave attack. All in all, a decent Uber with an
Very good
insane
Uber against the
combo.
targeted traits, especially since he has talents for relic targeting, so he's really good against there as well.
Only being part of the elemental pixie set is
Shut up,
resistance against
Commander.
Leyland and
Vigler's
Arthur,
actually
being able
good.
to guarantee
Don't
barrier
underestimate
breaking
him.
and weakening them for half his uptime.
Yami
His
above
stats are
Grabby?
phenomenal,
It's
but
because of his
biggest
wave
weakness
shield, I
comes
think.
down to his wave blocking ability. Thanks to his
It,
fast
it is criminal, but his wave shield is good.
recharge time and typing along with his weakening, he surpasses all the other wave blockers in the ranking. Easily the best wave
Not
blocker
enough
Uber
budget for
and a good
Vigler
hitter
stats. He did
against
show them.
Illuminaku.
He did show them.
The 6 Angel is one of the funnest Ubers to use in the entire game, as they're a backliner who does massive damage against floating, guarantees to slow on them for 10% uptime, and guarantees the level 3 surge. He's given long distance in which can pierce
This is pretty
an
cool.
astonishing
Pretty cool unit.
1,000.
It's a very weird unit. I need to not pause. It's a very weird unit, though. Second form Angels? Yeah, they're a little weird.
Against floating, he deals 6,000 damage per second. That again reaches up to 1,000.
Wave shield is an important niche. Wave shield is an important niche, but this guy, where was it? Where's Hellward and Emma at? Hellward and Emma is somewhere way down. I don't know where, but Hellward and Emma's way down there somewhere. Even though she has wave shield, so
Extremely long, does
I don't
be
know.
unreliable. If it manages to land on floatings, it can
This
do
is one of the best
over
LD Surge Ubers in the
500,000
game.
damage,
Maybe.
which
Yeah, better than Dazzly. Absolutely.
is insane. His biggest problem comes to survivability, as though he's
True,
given
you can't just use
zero,
first form.
which is great and all. He only has 25,000 health and 1 knockback. He's given half a chance to dodge floating enemies, though that's very situational. Alongside his extremely long cooldown, he's one of the more fragile units. In the end, the 6th Angel is an extremely fragile, yet extremely rewarding Uber. Squirt Gun Saki is the summer variant of Saki, who only targets 2 specific traits in return for her
This is
insane
alright.
stat. The first 2 forms can be ignored, as her true form is her real usage. On her true form, she can only attack floating and angels, as well as be strong against them. Once the strong is applied, she does an astonishing 14,000 damage per second. That damage is already amazing,
Fuck.
considering her standing range.
You're really
being
gonna make me get
1,600
another water?
and a long
I
distance
already finished my last water because I was thirsty throughout the video. You're really gonna make me get another one? You're really gonna make me get another one? God damn it. I should stop drinking water when I'm not told to. What's the point of strong against? Gives her more damage. I mean, you could just increase stats, but it's cool to have strong against, I guess. I don't know. Alright, I got another water. You gonna play Rocket League? Alright, see ya. But here's another thing about strong against is that it gives Squirt Gun Saki.
upwards of 300, which is
It gives her less HP against things that she doesn't target, and then it also gives her less damage against bases. So it makes her.
amazing.
It does do
Cooldown of
things,
58
just not a
seconds,
lot.
Which means that you can have 2 or even 3 Sakis in the loadout if you protect the front line enough. Of course, as said, she can only target these 2 traits, which means her usage gets limited to the stages that have majority of their enemies in these traits. Overall, an amazing specialized backliner nuker. Little Valkyrie is a generalist range rusher having a standing range of 345
11,000 DPS, by the way. Absolutely crazy.
Hefty damage, and thanks to her zombie killer, chance of barrier breaking, immunity to waves, knockback,
Crazy
haste,
DPS.
weaken, warp, and curse, many stages are open for her to handle incredibly. Her health may be fragile, though thankfully she's given a quick recharge time of 51 seconds.
She also has a lot of immunities. Yeah, crazy for a rusher.
Takeda Shingen is
No,
another Uber
there's
that
little,
only attacks
there's
first,
little
both
Dark
being
Valk
black and
somewhere
alien.
in here.
He's able to deal 17,000 damage per second and a stay 400.
Yeah, that extra HP ain't doing much.
100,000, which that alone makes him
She's not exactly super rare or anything. She's just only doing best of the best, typically.
Unlock his bigger potential. Attack buff
470 range with 16k DPS though, that's crazy.
Power, it's good to max out as his attack buff increases his damage to an insane
And he has a lot of HP.
damage per second. The bigger talent though is targeting angels, which opens up so many opportunities with his insane raw
That's
damage.
true. Little Valkyrie's dress does change depending on where you're at.
3 new typings, those being Red, Aku, and Zombie. At level 60 with the attack buff applied, he deals
Oh yeah, only the little Dark Valk. Normal Valk doesn't change. It just has normal form and true evolved form.
He does an incredible job against them. Same with Aku. This all sounds incredible, but it comes down with the cost of 15 Dark Cat Size and a lot of NP. Though if you're willing
It's not
to
that
spend
good.
amount, he can be a powerful general. Many people would rather choose a different counter against the traits in the Ultra Talents though. Heavyjack is a ranged tanker whose resistance against Red and Aku enemies, while guaranteeing a knockback
Yes,
against them
sir.
and half while guaranteeing a knockback against them and have half.
Why does that
chance to
happen?
Aku shield. His guaranteed knockback and resistance will make him always crowd control, no matter how.
I forget it's guaranteed.
The shield break is also
But yeah, 50% pure shield is nice.
Come with shield, allowing
Heavyjack barely ended up outside of top 75.
Cat combo, Wicked Flames, which boosts all cats' health by 20%, which is wonderful.
Yeah,
Overall, a
Heavyjack carried me through Aku Realms on my second account. Not my new account. My Taiwan account.
Chance of knocking back Red, Black, and aliens in each hit. She has an insane 20,000 raw damage per second, which is crazy. Though in exchange, she only has single attack. Still, in stages where there's little to no peons, she can do an amazing job in those. Her knockback is also nice, as they can push back enemies that get too close to her due to her having a semi-short range.
She only has single targeting though. Her single targeting is kind of throwing me off.
Generalist who guarantees the level 2 wave attack, survives the lethal strike, and has a 50%.
I wonder who he's putting above Iwaltz, because Iwaltz is really good. He better have some really good Ubers up here.
With half of that piercing nearly to 200. The Savage Blow can be treated as a bonus, though if it lands, it can do huge amounts of damage, which can pierce to enemies, dealing 75,000 damage. His immunity to waves makes him one of the.
I wonder if Iwaltz had talents at this point, because Iwaltz talents shouldn't be forgotten. Adding the 10% Savage Blow is good. Hiya, coolest kitty.
Who guarantees a freeze against aliens for 52% uptime. That can pierce
Not a terrible anti-alien. I don't see how it's better than Iwaltz though.
Aliens are well known for being backliners, and though
Damn, he didn't have talents. Unfortunate. Even then though, I feel like an anti-alien backliner shouldn't beat Iwaltz, but I mean, I guess it's alright. This guy doesn't really care for generalists. Like, he seems to prioritize specialists over generalists, which is completely understandable.
Which results in 32,000 damage per second, which is pretty
Or
good actually.
specialist usage rather than generalist usage. Like, if a unit's meant to be a generalist, then obviously he cares about generalists.
She
But
doesn't need no ultra form or ultra talents. She does her job well for a bit of cat fruit and NP. Teammate and Ruri is
I think Thundia and Courier shouldn't be compared, because Thundia is a ranged backliner, or is a backliner nuker. Meanwhile, Courier is a spammable rusher, so they shouldn't be compared. But like against Reds, you can definitely use them both and get really good usage.
a great mid-range tanker against Red, and within talent, Relic. Against the trades, she has 480 to 600,000 health, which is amazing.
Yeah.
She deals 12
Amazing.
damage per second.
Okay, and then the Sprite went back to Thundia for some reason.
Weaken, which lasts her full uptime, which
But
essentially
Ruri
doubles
is
her
an
power,
amazing
which is
tank for both
amazing.
Red and
Yeah,
Relic,
she's best
with only
at
single targeting,
targeting
unfortunately,
as
but
she
still
will
really
eliminate
good.
enemies permanently and tank their hit for your other worthy units. Little Valkyrie Dark is the same as Little Valkyrie, with her special abilities being
Less immunities.
exchanged for a guaranteed level 3.
Not having immunities is kind of rough, but it's alright.
Only makes her superior, as she can deal around 6,000 damage per second that can nearly pierce up to 400 and 12.
Yeah, wow, that Ruri looks real different.
Which is wonderful. Thankfully, she has kept her most important immunity, waves.
And also, I did see that you said Iwaltz is better than Sakura
In the
Miku.
end, she's a fragile yet powerful Uber who can snipe enemies from the back with her amazing wave damage. An amazing Halloween version of
Count Yukimura?
Yukimura shares similar stats to the original counterpart, with their abilities being switched for massive against floating enemies and a 30% chance to survive.
I wonder if he gets his Battle Cats music from the same place I did. Because it's funny how I keep recognizing the same music. Count Yuki should be higher? I don't know. He's kind of meh.
and thankfully he's gonna
Oh, he has a
recharge
true
in
form.
51 seconds.
Hold up. I want to look at his true form. I haven't seen it. At least not in a long time. I don't know. I don't know if he's like top. I don't know if he's top 50 with that though. I mean, he just kind of has better damage. That's about it. Oh, he guarantees this, has more damage and more speed. It's not that much better. Like it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not top tier Uber by any mean.
Which allows you to use him many times in the field.
Yeah, no, this vid was pre true form.
Due to the lack of talents in true form, though in the end, he's arguably one of the best seasonal Ubers.
Yeah, no doubt.
Is an amazing traitless crowd control.
His true form is huge. I don't know about that.
Half a chance of freezing traitless for 57% of her uptime. With her long distance that can pierce upwards of 270.
Strong and freeze against traitless is really nice for somebody with so much range in LD.
She has nearly 100,000 health and deals 6,000 damage per second. This along
real
with
nice.
freeze already makes her a wonderful counter against traitless. Though she only has half a chance of freezing, having a unit that can freeze traitless for 4
You put him in like 50 or 60 in true form.
Overall, an amazing traitless crowd controller and
I just don't know what all Ubers we have left, honestly.
Wonderful mid-range rusher who deals massive damage against angels. When applied, she deals an insane 34,000 damage per second against angels, which is jaw-dropping due to her 350 range.
And then it goes back again. I love Kalisa. You know, I love Kalisa. You know, I just love Kalisa. Did we get we've been past Cosmo for a while. Since he doesn't have Ultra Form as of this video, he was gone pretty quickly. He's pretty low.
Hajime Saito is another rusher who has an Omni Strike that can pierce upwards of 200, with the ability to do massive damage against Red and Aku, and instantly pierce.
I do agree, this guy is really good. This guy's absolutely crazy.
That are a bit behind or coming to the front line. Against his trade, he deals 20,000 damage per second.
Not a lot of HP, but fucking nuts.
Damage against Aku. He does a fine enough job against Red, since though 20,000 damage per second is amazing, it isn't enough for Red as there's many more alternatives. Now,
Gladly I got him. Damn, you got him. Lucky.
Welcoming, as there still isn't many alternatives compared to Red, and thanks to his guaranteed pierce on shields and Omni Strike of 200,
you're lucky.
He does his job as a rusher against Aku pretty good.
He does a very good job of anti-red and Aku rushing.
His guaranteed chance of knockbacking and slowing for 66% of his uptime. With half a chance.
Collab anti-Akus are absolutely crazy.
Has a pierce of 300. He'll push nearly all of the Aku enemies back, thus letting room to.
Those are not comparable. Using Hajime against Reds and Core against Metal, those are not even close.
For your other units to do damage, thanks to his 6-second flow. The half a chance of piercing shields is a nice bonus.
His Courier doesn't do shit against Metal, meanwhile Hajime still does stuff against Red.
Which is amazing, as it increases his
he is only used against Aku, but he can still be used against Red. Also, I do agree with everything he said about Satoru.
In his first form, Alien Crowd Controller in his second form, and Zombie Crowd Controller in his true form. His first form easily makes him one of the best.
Is it just me?
In the game.
Is it just me, or is this guy like really overrated? Like he's only good for his critting in his first form, but after that he's kind of just like, I think he's overrated as fuck. But yes, we are reacting to more tier lists because I was asked to.
Thanks to his 300 pierce, allowing him to hit all aliens, including backliners, and his true form makes him an amazing crowd controller.
Saito and Hajime are completely different. Oh wait, no, Saito and who's Saito? I don't care. It's hard to compare some Ubers, so.
Pierce and fast attack frequency of 5 seconds, he becomes an amazing counter.
He's Paladin more than Haya, yeah.
Uber who's a jack of many trades.
High Boost is just a combo slave? I don't know about combo slave. I just think he's overrated as hell. People praise him way too much.
And on top of all of that, a guaranteed level 1 surge attack. When all of his abilities are applied, you get a unit who deals 18,000 damage per second against melee to backliner enemies, all the while they're weakened for half the uptime in the field. These stats are all in all amazing, though there is a small downside of them having a semi-weak survivability.
They have really long attack frequency. I think their long attack frequency is their only problem, in my opinion.
Kai is one of the best tankers in the game, having a raw 200,000 health, and with her resistance against floating,
Uberfest is coming up.
She'll take all the hits in the front line from floating enemies, so none can progress further to your base.
This is before Kai Ultra Talents, by the way. But I do believe she's really good. I do still think she should be better, but whatever.
Being a backlander who's strong against angels and zombies. Against the traits, he has the health of a 250,000 with 10,000 damage per second. His job as a backlander
A fifth of a million, I guess,
more than
but
likely never die in the field, thanks to his huge health pool. All the while, he does a great amount of damage to his target.
you're saving for Baki, fair.
His talents, which if landed, can be extremely rewarding. One of the more underrated Ubers and Ultra Souls and in the game. Eva Unit 01 is an amazing.
This is the Eva unit you thought, by the way, whoever that was.
Strong against the two traits with his strengthening ability.
But yeah, this one's really good. Hanayama for the win? Eh. Hanayama is overrated too, but that's besides the point.
With the bonuses of Zombie Killer, Guaranteed Barrier Break, and
yeah, this guy's really good. I have him. With his strengthen, he's really good. I don't care much for Baki either. I think that the other Ubers are still really good along with Hanayama, but Hanayama's way overrated. I've also never seen the anime.
A whopping 16,000. All the while, he has a health of nearly 200,000.
Hanayama's overrated? Absolutely. Everybody loves him.
Makes him an amazing counter.
Have you used him? I didn't have to use him to know that he's overrated as fuck. Everybody praises him and says that, oh my god, if you have Hanayama, no other Anti-Aku Uber is useful. It's bullshit.
Against the two traits. His main search is too rare and should be viewed as a bonus, and his guaranteed lethal strike is viewed as
nobody talks about his force swing. Nobody talks about his force swing, nobody talks about his recharge time. Nobody talks about anything other than his crazy stats. Everybody says he... What do you mean nobody says that? Everybody that ever mentions Hanayama is like, oh my god, Hanayama better than Kai. Hanayama better than literally any other fucking Anti-Aku Uber. Everybody says Hanayama is by far the best Anti-Aku Uber. His force swing isn't an issue if you're just good at the game. His force swing is an issue if you simply have other attackers pushing.
Against zombies with half a chance of weakening them for his full up.
He does not insta-kill. He does insta-kill, I will say that. But that's only if you lure. You have to lure things into his thing. And then he also has a long-ass attack frequency.
He deals 10,000 damage per.
Saying any other Anti-Aku is worthless is exaggerating? That's what I'm saying. Everybody that talks about Hanayama says that he is the best Anti-Aku by far, making all the others obsolete. His damage is good, don't get me wrong, but his damage is... Here's the thing. You can't go around saying that Hanayama is the best Anti-Aku and then saying that Ku is a garbage unit. You can't be saying that. Hajime is still good? Fuck off. That is not the only Anti-Aku Uber that is also relevant. Alright? There are so many Anti-Aku Ubers that are still relevant. And yeah, another level 60. Who is saying Ku is bad? Pre-Ultra Talents. I'm talking about pre-Ultra Talents because her attack frequency is comparable to that of Hanayama. People say that Ku is bad because, let's be real, her low attack frequency makes her pretty bad. So, like, everybody just ignores the problems of Hanayama, and they say he's the best Anti-Aku in the game by far, without even, like... They don't even consider his problems. She can be mid because she's boring, but people say she's bad because of her attack frequency and attack force swing. And yet, nobody considers it for Hanayama. It's bullshit. But anyway, this guy's cool.
Half a chance of weakening also becomes into guarantee that also targets Relic, and that's not all. He has an insane 250,000 raw health, which becomes into 1.3 million health against zombies and Relic. And once weaken is applied, 2.6 million HP.
I was talking about Hanayama, but I don't want to talk about Hanayama for very long. I did mention that he's at level 60. I'm trying to ignore it for a sec. As if Aku isn't aggressive as shit. Red and black are the most aggressive? Excuse me? Aku is probably more fucking... That's crazy. Blanco over Saito is insane? Yeah. Aku is also aggressive as fuck.
150 pierce and a guaranteed barrier break. Against aliens, he deals a whopping 32,000 damage per second, which is broken.
And who else?
The hits thanks to his
Condemned Pang! Condemned Pang does so much damage. And does definitely push.
Here's and barrier break. Not only that, he's not given warp immunity, which becomes a beneficial thing as any enemies that warp him will just
Yeah, this guy's
allow
cool.
him to
Massive
rush
damage to
in and deal
alien
even
with.
more damage
I
before
mean,
he
I
gets
like
knocked
Blanca.
out. In the end, Blanca somehow manages to do an incredible job.
Death Corey isn't appearing often enough for that to matter.
Alien Rusher. Strike Unit Ray is a specialist against floating, who deals massive damage against them and is insanely tough against them as well. She deals an incredible 24,000 damage per second, all while being able to tank nearly 300
Oh yeah, and Midnight D.
from them. She's an incredible unit to use against floating, and her talents give her a
And
40%
Fallen Bear,
chance
yeah.
to freeze
Like,
them for
Aku is so
nearly
aggressive.
85% uptime, which is actually pretty good. All in all, a simple yet floating destroying Uber.
Ray is
Thunderjack
cool.
a
I love
heavy
Ray.
melee hitter, being able to have
As an
half a
anti-floating.
knocking back from his 3-part multi-hit against aliens.
Thunderjack is overrated, but okay.
On form. He has a single attack in return for an insane 18.
Once he gets his true form, he's gonna be the exact same. I'm willing to bet, unfortunately.
His knockbacks allow him to cancel attacks.
That's my problem with. I kind of hate Dark Heroes because what happens is you give them a true form, and their true form is lame as hell because what happens is they have to be like the exact same but just slightly different with trait targeting.
Low, thanks to Thunderjack's constant knockback. He's best used similarly to Chun-Li, though he comes out on top, as though Chun-Li has a better range. Thunderjack
Behemoth has a lot of health. You'd be surprised. He can push.
With many more room to unlock potential due to the lack of true form and talent. Amakusa is a decent anti-black and incredible Aku nuker. He deals massive damage against the 2, which results in 28,000 damage per second against black, and 21,000 damage against
his multi-hit should not be
It's
forgotten
extremely
though.
good. A major
This
drawback
guy's
people may
multi-hit
argue is
kind of
his
makes him
multi-hit.
interesting.
While it
Oh,
can
he didn't
increase
forget it.
his damage output, even if only 2 hits land, it's still a wonderful 14,000 damage per second, which other Ubers can't even reach against Aku. He likes shield pierce.
Yeah, they have a cool concept, but they suffer for it, unfortunately.
His surge immunity is good to have, as it increases his survivability, and overall is an underestimated anti-Aku nuker. An amazing crowd controller against both.
This guy has a true form now, but it doesn't really change anything.
200 and guarantees slow that reaches an uptime of 62%.
I do really like Dahlia-san though. It hurts to see him this low, but I think we're getting to the point to where there's a bunch of like amazing Ubers. I think we've gotten to the point to where every Uber is pretty fucking amazing.
When it does, it can do some staggering damage on all enemies in the field. Colossus-wise, he does an incredible job against
20% damage increase, 20% savage blow. They're gonna put Kazujizo really high up. I'm already gonna predict that.
Ollie is an incredible mid-range alien crowd controller who's
Gigavolta above Dahlia-san is kind of interesting. I do like Volti as a specialist though against alien. You're back. What did you miss? Not a lot. Just more of this video. He does have good damage as well though.
His range of 370 is what.
Dahlia-san has a 20% savage blow, does he not? So it would be 40% damage DPS buff.
Limits his usage a bit, though thanks to his 83-second.
Yeah, Volta's good, cool. I do also prefer Gravity over Volta, but it's not a hot take. I do prefer the same thing.
Henshin Himura is an excellent ranged nuker who deals massive damage against Traitless and Aku.
Oh yeah, in true form, that is true. Yeah, 20% damage increase. You're right. You're right.
Damage per second against Traitless and Aku, which is genuinely insane.
This guy's cool. If I didn't have other anti-Traitless and Aku, then I'd use him.
Simply throwing an alternative shield piercing unit or even his
This guy's cool. Yeah, I like this guy.
Enough to surpass that. There's really no flaws in Kenshin as he does an incredible.
I like that we're actually getting good collab Ubers nowadays.
A heavily expensive Uber for a heavily powerful reward. I'll simply ignore his first 2.
Okay, so he can put Akira this high up because of his ultra talents and stuff, but he can't put Anubis this high up due to ultra talents. Come on now.
Forms, as his main reason for being this high in the ranking is from his true form and talent/ultra talent. Now in his true form, he's given strong against alien enemies and
he's in Nami tier. What?
He's given a 40%
you haven't used Volta since the start of COTC? Well, you should have used it at the end of COTC too. Yeah, Anubis was mentioned already. He was like, where was he? Was he like number 97, I think? Yeah, Anubis was far back.
Ultra talents unlock Aku typing.
Yeah, I don't
and
like where
guarantee a surge
Akira
attack.
is.
Put it in
Not
simple
if
terms,
Anubis
it's
is
a
so far low.
ginormous nuker against Aku and Alien. Now, even mentioning this, I can already feel my hard-earned NP disappear from my wallet. Though if you invest in all of those talents for nearly 1,000
He was in the
NP,
hundreds?
you
Damn.
get these big numbers that I'm too
Yeah,
tired to
Anubis
describe,
got
so
put
look
way
at
too
Luca.
low.
Ooh,
Even
now
though
let's Silver Surfer's gameplay. He's a
even though
game-changing Luca,
Akira
though
is
not
this high
everyone
up.
has 1,000 NP, meaning that some will
It's
rather choose
crazy.
alternatives. In the end, he's an expensive Uber.
Volta
that's
carried you from
extremely
Into the
powerful
Future
when
2
it's
to
backed.
Cataclysmus 3. That's
Body
fair.
Dreadnought
Volta
a
is an
powerful nuker
absolute
against Venom
alien
zombies
carry.
that deal 26,000 damage per second against them. Red is easily power crept, though it's still a wonderful amount. But
Aether was
on the other
also
hand,
put very
will
low.
wipe any zombies you encounter with Dreadnought, thanks to his insane
But to be
damage
fair,
per hit.
that's
If there would be one thing to
eh,
complain, it'd be
that's
his
a little
long
less
attack
arguable.
animation, which can make him miss. Though there really isn't many common units you bring in stages that are strong enough to knock them back. So in reality, the miss happens less often. All in all, a big heavy hitter.
That's not how missing attacks work. Did you guys hear what this guy said? Listen to this.
You encounter with Dreadnought, thanks to his insane damage per hit. If there would be one thing to complain, it'd be his long attack animation, which can make him miss. Though there really isn't many common units you bring in stages that are strong enough to knock them back. So in reality, the miss happens less often. All in all, a big.
What is he talking about? Reds and zombies get knocked back quite easily. I don't
Heavy
know.
hitter that will get rid of any zombies in red he'll encounter. Mikako is most known for being a
Yeah,
nuker
Globby,
and a
that's
ground
fair.
controller against Alien, dealing 19,000 damage per second against them. And
Dreadnought, you just have to surround your strategy around Dreadnought. Just as for like the same thing as Hanayama, you have to use him and him alone as an attacker if you want him to actually get maximum effect on the field.
Momotaro is an incredible red and
Did I see that right? Wow, I love Mikako.
well. Good job, Mikako. Momotaro is an
It's
incredible
30%
red
dodge.
angel controller, as he's
But
not
yeah,
known for his true form,
I think.
being able to have a 40% chance to freeze red and angels for nearly 90% of his uptime. A decent range and fast recharge is amazing, as he can simply just rack up more and more Momotaros thanks to his 58-second recharge, resulting in more freezing for both trades. Stats-wise, he has amazing survivability.
Let's be real, this one's only good because of the range and long recharge or short recharge time. Momo did kind of fall off, but still good. I still like Momotaro. Just got terrible talents, unfortunately.
So if you're a real Momotaro fan like me, it can be worth
Didn't
it
they also get ultra talents?
and immunity to waves, which lets them be used more often. In the end, Momotaro is a
That are terrible as well. You love when Mikako turned her machine into a giant steamboat. Hell yeah.
Ramos in his Ultra form is an incredible angel and alien crowd controller, with being able to guarantee
I can agree with
knockback
this.
and flow
But the
that
best
only
Ultra
half
form
the
being
level
at
can
48
do,
is
along with
crazy.
the guaranteed barrier break.
Obviously,
His
this is
three-part
before
ulti allows him
Cosmo
to
Ultra
use
form.
180, which is great. His
Oh,
insane
Momo
health
actually got
barrier
nerfed? I didn't know that.
makes him unmovable. And in his talents, he's given Strengthen, where his damage increases 50% once he reaches half his health. If the Strengthen and attack buff is applied, he deals an astonishing 31,000
I think
raw
Momotaro
damage per
getting a
second,
backswing
which
would
is
be nice.
jaw-dropping. This makes
So
him
that she doesn't
almost
just
a
rush
literal
in.
Godzilla, not because of his
I think that's what you meant.
alien debuff, but because of his overall insane health and damage.
I don't know
Ultra
X-Skill's
forms
rating
are
of him,
extremely difficult
but
to
Dear
obtain,
Almost is
due to
very
lack of
good.
HP and dark
Dear
cat
Almost
size, one
Ultra
has to
form
stay
is
up.
very,
If we could have
very
one
good.
Uber to Ultra form, it would be Diorama. Ganglion is a mid-range.
Momo used to have no TBA? That seems crazy. Dio is top 10 death? I don't know about that. He's good, but I don't know about top 10.
That Pierces of 250 with the ability to be strong against alien and zombies.
I don't-
Against them, he does 8,000
I
damage and
don't.
can
Is
take
it just me, or is Ganglion kind of like overrated as fuck? Having 7,500 DPS on a specialist that only has 300 standing range and not that big of an LD, I think he's pretty overrated. I think he's fairly overrated.
to 250,000 damage. These stats are wonderful, though his stats overall
Oh,
are just
okay,
incredible to
cool
the point
list.
that you can use him in any stage. His
Yeah, Ganglion should not be this high up. He used to be good, he ain't that good anymore. He's overrated now. I think you know what I think actually? I think I hear him be good from old things. Like I don't think people talk about him anymore, but in this list, he's definitely overrated.
He is an incredible backliner who's known for
Saki,
attacking
however,
only
is very
aliens and
good.
relics in return for her amazing stats. She deals 8,000 damage per second against them in a big standing range of 600.
You don't like rushers having a long backswing? I like it so that they don't just rush into being hit without having an attack. But like, does Ganglion not have backswing?
with a long distance
I don't
that
know.
up to 300. In her talents, she's given Strong Against, which essentially increases
Saki should. I don't know about top 35. Like, there's a lot of good Ubers that have yet to come in.
And apologies for
So,
not
I don't
mentioning
know.
this to the summer rare in Saki, but due to her fast recharge time of 58 seconds, her attack only ability allows her to be stacked in stages where the
My boy, is this not scripted? Why would you say sorry for not mentioning something and then not change the script? What the hell?
boss doesn't spawn unless the base is hit, which at times can lead to groundbreaking damage per second. In the end, she's an amazing specialist that fits perfectly well in her role. Ana is an incredible black sniper, being able to deal massive damage against them.
Her Behemoth Slayer is also really good. Off script mode, maybe. Yeah, rushers need that backswing. Absolutely.
She's great since when her standing range hit and her search is applied, she deals.
Yeah, so what you shouldn't say for a rusher is that you want them to have no backswing. You should instead say they should have a longer backswing. You know what I mean? You shouldn't say they should have no backswing. They should have entirely backswing so that they're essentially a rebound unit. That's what you should say. I think people get confused on that.
That 1 to 2/3 can pierce from her 600 range. Her biggest potential comes from her Behemoth Slayer, as Behemoth Slayer Ubers are extremely rare, and her multi-hit long distance allows her to hit even backliner enemies. She can be viewed as a variant of Nala, which is known for being an incredible Behemoth killer. Just overall, Kana is an amazing Behemoth Slayer. Destroyer is an excellent backliner who can deal massive damage against angels, zombies, and Aku.
Yeah, it is a long video, it is fair.
2,000 damage per second against angels and zombies, and 17,000 damage against Aku, all in a safe spot of 475. He deals an amazing amount of damage, though his biggest drawback is his slow speed of 3. Thankfully, it isn't a huge drawback as other wonderful Ubers, since at the end, he manages to deal huge damage against his certain traits. The lack of surge immunity is sad, though his 475 range and decent survivability is good enough to ignore that. Lastly, another reason on why he's high is due to his amazing cat combo, Land Air Assault, which is a 2-slot cat combo that increases all units' attack power.
Nala mentioned?
Which is amazing. This cat combo alone makes true forming Destroyer worth it. All in all, an amazing specialist against.
Yeah, his movement speed is very low, but he's still very good, I think. I think he's still very good. First Uberfest. I said the first Uberfest would be. I said the first fest would be in the 50s. But it's in 40s. So that's the first fest.
A zombie killer and immune to wave. All these abilities make him usable for most of the traits he's against, besides traitless and relic, as relic can curse, which he isn't immune to. His Omni Strike makes him more likely.
Yeah, but he's a mid-range tinker. He's still not going to be getting hit by things like meat shields and stuff.
Simply a great tanker at nearly all of.
He does have zombie killer though. I think zombie killer is nice to mention. Whoa, he actually puts Lilin very high up. How much you gonna bet Hanayama would make him be like, oh, Lilin, dog shit?
One of the few Ubers who can guarantee a shield breaker constantly, and thanks to his surge spawn, can even
better than Dio and Saki? I mean, I don't know. The Gars are actually pretty good. She would be better if she had immune to surge, but her effective HP is still 120,000 at level 30. And considering her recharge time, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think she's a balanced anti-Aku. Hanayama is not balanced, by the way. Just want to put that out there. This guy's overrated. His long-ass force swing is crazy.
His survivability is also amazing since he's given 8
however, he's still good.
Allowing him to reposition himself.
Lilin over Saito is. I think Globby, I think you're undervaluing Lilin. I love Lilin because her surge, having the guaranteed chance to pierce shield, is amazing. It can absolutely destroy Aku.
Though it's completely fair trade for what he can do. One of the few Ubers you should.
What is Ragnarok doing this high? I do not know.
Is an amazing generalist.
Is that the guy who shoots Mighty Saw and all? I don't know. No. Yo, Juven's made it this high up. I would argue that Iwaltz is better than Juven's, but not against Angel. To be fair, this guy's really good against Angel, so.
For a long time, all the while he does 11,000 damage per second, though it's only single attack. He defends so amazingly well.
Yeah, Lilin should have got a 2-second freeze for talents. It's actually crazy.
You have at least 2 Juvens in the
shit
field.
talents.
Does handle an amazing job against Angels, though Juven's amazing tanking abilities is too good to just replace.
Okay, Ragnarok's not ass, I will say that. But Konako is greater than Ragnarok. Konako was not out at this time. But yeah, Juven's being this high is kind of crazy.
If Juven's is brought onto the field,
I'd say iWaltz is better than Juven's,
Hanzo
but
is an
whatever.
extremely good Uber for one that doesn't even
This
have
guy has a true form
Hanzo
now.
can deal massive
I
damage against
don't
floating
remember what
weapons,
his true
which
form
also
did,
gives him
but
guaranteed freeze for
it's
nearly
good.
half his
He is a
uptime.
good
You can
unit.
tell he's
I
amazing, as he
don't
does both
know
motion
why
crouch
he's
and
this
floating
high
and
up,
maneuver incredibly. He deals
but he is good,
18,000
no
damage
doubt.
per second, so any black or floating
It's
with high
crazy that he's
knockbacks will
this
be
high up,
constantly juggled by
but
Hanzo. And
he is
floating
good.
and
Freeze
especially
duration, that's
black
fair.
are known for their high knockbacks, which Hanzo will take advantage of with his freeze. Overall, an overpowered Uber who hasn't even unlocked his true potential yet. Warlock and Pierre is one
Now
of the
he has.
funner Ubers to use. His first form is known to
He
be the
is
only
cool.
unit
Like, don't get me wrong, I do
that
think he's
faces
very
fire.
good.
This ability allows
I
Pierre
just think
himself to deal 4 times more damage towards
we're getting
enemy
to the
base.
point to
This
where we
has
should
been
be talking
easily
about
used in many
amazing
stages where
Ubers
he
that can
just fight right
carry
through his
in a
heart
lot
to
of
avoid the
stages,
enemy.
and I
Besides the
don't
base
know if
level
Hanzo
ability,
is
he does a
really
good job against floating, alien, and
that.
angels, though his true form only allows him to target aliens in exchange for his insane stats. His true form stats
The
allow him
freeze
to deal
duration is a big
20,000
deal, don't get
damage
me
per
wrong, but
second
it's still not
and has a hefty
100%.
raw health of
It's still not
128. His stats
100%
are nice, as he's given immune to
uptime.
waves and curse, which opens so many doors for him. Though his ultra talent
Like,
is for his
I mean, we're in the
potential
top
speed, his
50s.
ultra
I feel
talents
like
allow
top
him to
50s should be
target
like
traitless
busted
and have
Ubers that'll
surge
carry
immunity.
you,
Also,
but
close
maybe I'm
range,
wrong.
that's kind of relevant compared to the other two. Surge immunity just allows him to fit more newer
Yeah,
stages,
is
which
Hanzo on the
to
same
unlock
tier
them.
as
Traitless
Warlock?
is broken. Since at level 60, which is required in order to unlock these ultra talents, he deals 38,000 damage
I mean,
per
no doubt
second
he's
and
good. No
48,000
shit.
if the attack buff is applied. This is extremely groundbreaking, as Treeless is
Well,
a huge
I
cinematic
say
overcharging, and with
not
Warlock to
100%
deal such
uptime. It's not
massive
even
damage,
50%
it's
uptime,
insane.
is it?
Of course, with the ultra talents, it comes with the
So,
entropy of
like,
Dark Cats as required to unlock them, though he's one of the more better ones to unlock, so keep in mind about that.
you know
Just
the
an
video and
amazing
yet you
Luger
like to
has the
rewatch
juicy
it? I mean,
zombie
that's fair.
Thermite Deluxe is one of, if not the best anti-zombie Uber of all
And then he
time.
didn't
He's
even
strong against
bring
zombies
Aether
and guaranteed to freeze
close.
against them, and
I'd
even
say
with his
Aether's
first party
probably
kit,
better,
results
but
in over
whatever.
42% uptime. Being strong against zombies gives him over 200,000 health and 11,000 damage per second. Not only that, but with his
Hold up.
talents, he's
Since we talked about it, since we talked about it, I want to look at Hattori Hanzo. I want to look at him. He is cool. Yeah, that unit is good. Or cool. Cool unit. Thermite Deluxe is cool. So what all changed? Higher damage, slightly higher HP. The freeze increases by a third of a second. Is that? I mean, it's not even 50% uptime. What makes I don't see what makes this unit amazing. Like, I mean, once he gets talents, maybe he'll get something crazy. But I don't. 20k DPS is pretty damn strong. That it is damn strong. However, I don't think you realize just how many specialist units were put way lower than him. Like, comparatively to what was already shown in the list, compared to everything else that is here, I feel like he just doesn't belong here. Like, Thundia. Thundia is way down here. Takeda Shingen is way down here. Yami, Rabbit Saturo, Jupiter King, Kentaro, Tropical Kalisa. Like, a lot of these guys have a shit ton of damage. And yet he's put up here comparatively to these guys. I know he's way better than Thundia, but like iWaltz is down here. Little Valkyrie. And like where are some special? Show me specialists for the love of God. It's not showing me specialists, but you get what I mean, right? He's comparable to other specialists. But at this point in the list, he doesn't really belong. Like, he's better than a lot of specialists.
Once he gets to half a health.
But I disagree. I disagree that he belongs this high up.
Deal damage behind him up to negative 675 range, and it's a zombie killer.
Yeah, 50 places higher than Gravity. It's crazy. I don't see how he's this high up. I don't see how Hattori Hanzo is this high up. Especially with its trait targeting. Targeting black and floating isn't that good of targeting. Like, it is good targeting, but it's not that good of targeting.
Deals 20,000 damage per second against them. That's not all. As with his talents, he receives a strengthened ability where in his last knockback, his damage increases by 50%, letting him deal 30,000 damage per second against aliens. In stages where it's pure
I also have a problem with Bora, but to be fair, Bora does have a strength and that makes it better than 20,000. Bora is way worse than Warlock? Excuse me, Bora has comparable stats to Warlock with even with Ultra Talents plus the research combo plus the research time is like a third of his time or at least half. Seriously? You're really going to say Bora is way worse than Warlock? Against Traitless, obviously. But against aliens? No. Bora's better. If not very comparable. Like, I'd say they're on even leveling at least. And that's not even considering this guy's strengthen or ultra form.
There'd be one thing to point out is that
Never gotten good results with Bora? I think that means you're using the wrong loadout with him.
Mixed stages. Thankfully, his 81-second cooldown allows him to be respawned quickly in case things go south. Simply an amazing
I mean, I wouldn't say it's comparing one Warlock to two Boras. I'm just saying the recharge time does help a lot with Bora.
He deals 17,000 damage per second, which can pierce up to 225 thanks to your long.
This unit's good though. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Hattori Hanzo came around like just a couple of things before this. Meanwhile, Mommy has more range, LD, and I mean that's it. But like that LD is crazy. Hattori Hanzo does not have LD, which is a big deal. Like the difference between an area attacker and somebody with LD, it's kind of crazy. So like I mean I don't know. I just don't see how Hattori Hanzo stands a candle with, you know, the top of the top. Is it Unwind the Tower's return? I have no idea.
Angels are less likely to get into her blind spot. All in all, an Angel Destroyer in the field. Lucifer the Fallen is an
now this guy is really good.
Upwards of 150, with the ability of being strong against floating and Aku, while guaranteeing a level 1 surge each hit. Against floating, he deals 6,500 damage per second, which with his standing range of 550 is amazing. Against Aku, he still deals 5,000 damage per second, which is powerful since his immunity surge lets him guarantee each hit with no problem. His surge spawn is more inside his range.
You got Lucifer recently? Nice, nice, very good.
Which is nice. If applied to
he is very good with his true form.
11,000 damage per second against.
So Hanzo, okay, I want to talk about Hanzo. His support, it's only a 2-second freeze, not even 50% uptime. You're better off using Bomber or Necromancer if you really want black and floating support. However, I will say his support is good. Don't get me wrong, and his damage is very good. I just, how do I put this? Not having LD is a big deal because at this point in the game, having LD is really fucking nice. He's really fucking nice. Like, don't get me wrong. Hattori Hanzo is very good. Don't get me wrong. He's very good. But his HP is not anything special. His recharge time is nothing special. His range is only like 450, which, I mean, is good. But it's not that special. And like his main strength isn't his damage or his freeze. It's his quick attack. His quick attack frequency is his main strength. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people like him more than he probably should be liked. Just because he's a little more consistent with his freezing. But I still think he's overrated. I do think he's overrated.
Aku and 13,000 against floating, which is wonderful. Overall,
it's less than it's technically less than 50% frequency. But with how aggressive black enemies are, if he gets rushed down, he could be pushed back. And let's be real, like, is he actually that good against floating? I think I only ever use him against black, not so much floating. So. Now Luthien, that's a different story. He's amazing. Lots of damage per hit.
Enemies will be able to outrange him. Tekko Luga will change the difficulty of any stage with no peons.
I know he's very good against it, but does anybody really use him against floating? I'm not hating on. Okay. I'm not hating on Hanzo. I'm not hating on him. I'm saying he doesn't, you know, he doesn't really belong around, you know, top 40 Ubers, in my opinion. That's my opinion. He doesn't belong up here.
4,000 damage in a safe 440 standing range. And survivability-wise, her health goes over 300,000 against red. These stats make her near invincible against red, as she deals a heavy amount of damage against them. If you rolled her, consider.
Yeah, I think what the fuck are they called? I think the Buster Ubers are kind of underrated because nobody really talks about the fact that they're all like, I'd say they're all pretty much the best against their targeted trait. Like Ray is really fucking good against their targeted trait. Pepe is very good against her targeted trait. Sakura is very good against her targeting trait. Like I think they're all not talked about enough, but he did do Ray a long time ago. Ray was put in a long time ago, even though it's the floating equivalent of Pepe. I think the Busters are really good though.
He does an amazing job. Thanks to its amazing survivability, no other Ubers can say
Yeah, Ray being so far back, meanwhile Pepe being so far forward, I don't get it, but like, I guess.
It can be extremely useful
I guess I understand.
or at least knock back the upcoming peons, thanks to its amazing peer.
You don't see why Pepe is this high? I don't see why she wouldn't be. She is only red, but this isn't. I think you're forgetting. This isn't a general tier list. This is talking about specialists. He is emphasizing the specialist part of Ubers. We're not talking about generalists. We're talking about specialists and Ubers with at their peak usage. Pepe is probably the best anti-red. Ray's probably one of the best floating, and yet they're completely separate in the ranking. So it's weird. It's really weird.
15,000, which is groundbreaking. And his immunity to waves unlock more
Be back, welcome back, Pixel.
Stages. One of the best mid-rangers in the game that will do an amazing job against traitless and in a lot of peon hefty stages.
Why is he praising Dark Garu meanwhile the other Garu didn't get like any praise?
He's nerfed, where his
he kind of just said, oh, Light Garu gets cursed. Useless. Or not useless, but like, he didn't really say much more about Garu.
The immunities Mitama is given, such as the common debuffs and wave. Her slow debuff being shorter makes her significantly worse than Mitama, as she doesn't.
Yeah, Oracle Ray. What do you mean?
Her survivability makes
she's good. Is this Mitama before Mitama? What do you mean? I think this came out after. I think this is a Mitama clone. This is a Mitama clone, I think. And she's not as good, but she is still really good.
Though a knockoff of one of the best Ubers is still amazing. She can still do a fine enough job in surviving.
She's also immune to Surge. Yeah, this is Mitama after Mitama.
She's also given immunity to Surge and a 30% chance to spawn a level 1 Surge attack, which isn't too special, though both are nice qualities to have in return of her nerf. Overall, a still amazing crowd controller to be brought in a lot of stages. Baby Cat is an amazing melee waver, with being known for his guaranteed level 2 wave attack from his hefty 60,000.
Don't forget they also copied Casley.
Time of 50 seconds and 100,000 health, he would constantly be able to.
Do not compare Pepe and Courier. They are two completely different units. Courier is a spammable rusher, meanwhile Pepe is a somewhat tank and damager or nuker. They are not. Do not compare them.
Wave attacks that pierces up to nearly 300, which is amazing. Just recently, he's been given an Ultra Form, which gives him a level 3 wave and an Omni Strike that pierces 60. Both are amazing.
This is before Ultra Form, I'm assuming.
Priority, as Dark Cat Eyes are still difficult to obtain. In the end, he's an amazing nuker that will deal hefty damage to all.
Wait, this is an Ultra Form unit. That's his Ultra Form sprite. That's his Ultra Form sprite, isn't it? Am I wrong? That's his. Yeah, that's the Ultra Form sprite. But he's not using the Ultra Form stats. Which is... Wait, I'm so lost. He's talking about the Ultra Form too, but he's using the True Form stats. Why did he not do that for the others? Why did he not do that for the other Ultra Forms? Like, I'm still confused as to why his sprite is the Ultra Form. But no, because it's only a level 2 wave. Ultra Form gets level 3 wave. So that is True Form stats. And it also says Cats at the Cradle. Cats at the Cradle is the name of the True Form. I'm so confused. This man needs to be a little more consistent.
An amazing generalist with immunity to waves, resistance to black, and double the damage once half a health. The immunity and double strengthen is what.
Brother, I have Iwaltz and KG both at their true form in my new account, and I think Iwaltz has done far more work than KG has recently. Like so far. Like that's actually crazy. Having them both on my new account and using Iwaltz more generally and getting better results is actually criminal that these guys are so separate.
seconds with nearly 100.
KG after talents does a lot.
More than likely have multiple KG.
Well, it's only 50% more to his strength than.
on the field.
So,
He's one of
like,
the best
you know.
anti-waves, and as just said before, his damage is amazing. Just overall, a safe bet, amazing generalist. Wendy is a general nuker who deals massive damage against.
And then it goes back to the ultra form and ultra form stats.
Range of 510, and her massive damage changes into insane against floating. With her insane ability, she deals an insane 72,000 damage per second.
Yeah, KG isn't much down, no. I just think that iWalt's being so far down is criminal. But yeah, Wendy's really good. I really like Wendy.
She deals 130,000 damage per second against floating. There's no other unit that can compare.
Just wait till you see number 3 pick. Oh boy.
Easily making her one of the best anti-floating units of all time. Is the Dancer is the mid-range unit with an Omni Strike that pierces 50 range.
Is the Dancer, okay. Wendy's cute too? I mean, I prefer Kenshin, but you know, whatever.
Slow and weaken. Against traded, she deals 11,000 to 14,000 damage per second, and when strengthened, 22 to 28,000 damage per second.
Any tips for Into the Future 3 without Catalyte or any anti-alien? Get anti-alien and treasures. Treasures is number 1.
By the first hit and avoid the rest of her attacks, resulting in her damage per second falling. Still,
you prefer Usugi Kenshin? In looks, I prefer Usugi Kenshin. I now have a bias towards Usugi Kenshin. You guys got to witness it firsthand.
Dark Mitama is a mid-range traitless crowd controller with a
Treasure you always have on max, and get some anti-alien if you're struggling. Sorry to say it, but there's so many anti-aliens in the game. That's all you gotta do.
To 275, any traitless she counters, Mitama will hit and weaken, plus slow them, which is incredible.
It's on a new account? Oh, then just don't rush.
She gets to reposition herself 14 times, all the while she's resistance against her.
Are you saying that Dark Mitama should be lower? I disagree. She can absolutely shut down pretty much every anti-traitless. I think it's a solid tier because she shuts down literally any anti-traitless. And so far in the list, we haven't seen anybody that can shut down traitless as good as her. And traitless is one of the traits that you can absolutely say is one of the harder ones to have counters for. So I think this is fine.
Knockback, freeze, slow, and weaken.
I'm fine with this.
Her crowd controlling job with no worries, while immunity to waves lets her become an amazing unit to bring when
Dark Mitna.
A lot of waves that maybe Octopus can't block. Overall, an amazing traitless crowd controller.
Me when Hitman. Hitman is so hard to get though. Do not. Hitman is so hard to get. And Mitama's not even a damager. You can still use other traitless attackers with Mitama. So you can use Hitman and Mitama.
Angel or Relic. All of his traits are incredible.
Yeah, and how is Catman this high up? Like, how the hell is Catman this high up?
Ability as well as standing range makes countering the 4 traits he targets a much easier experience.
He's overrated as hell.
One of the more
Catman is easily overrated.
Shares the same stats as Catman, where they deal massive damage against certain traits.
Hitman and Dark Mitama have completely different classes.
Reika is better than Catman.
I do really like Reika.
Better range, bigger damage per second, faster cooldown, better survivability.
Reika is 2i2? What do you mean? 6k DPS? Okay, having triple targeting, 6.2k DPS, 450 range, and targeting Relic. What about that is this too high?
More demanding target.
What about this? I will drink water, by the way.
She still deal consistent damage in her
there, I drink water. I need to start saving my water. She's extremely frail. 50,000? And Luza is literally in a couple of stages. Generally, against relics, she's going to do amazingly. Like, no. Do not use Luza as this anti-relic's terrible. Because a lot of anti-relics are terrible against Luza. It's just how he is.
In general, she's an amazing nuker against the 3 traits she's against. Is a short mid-ranger with the ability to do massive damage against traitless.
A short mid-ranger? I feel like I always see Iz as a melee, but he's right. It is a short mid-ranger. That's crazy.
Nearly all debuffs, including wave and surges. She has many roles, and surprisingly,
she's mainly good for her shield pierce though. Because against traitless, she's not actually all that useful. It's mainly her shield pierce.
Against traitless, she's amazing as her
it is better not to use Ubers against Luza.
30,000 damage per second, which is amazing as she
Luza is not better than Reika. Reika's faster and also I think has better DPS. Just less HP. She should not be this much higher than Saki. I think you overestimate Saki because you forget that she costs so much and her blind spot is fucking huge.
While handling traitless enemies. Last boss is referred to as the boss killer, and it's easy to see why.
Lasvos, honestly, I'm surprised Lasvos isn't higher. He strikes me as the kind of person to put Lasvos higher, honestly.
150,000, which is already incredible. Though his
Yeah, it has a lot of abilities.
Once his health lowers to 30%, his attack power increases by 50%.
I mean, I think Lasvos is overrated as fuck. I think this is a fair ranking for him. I'm just surprised he's not higher.
So if he's strengthened while
Luffy will always be boss killer number 1. Hell yeah. I don't really care for Lasvos that much. I only use him for a combo slave, honestly.
Of course, you need to time him right in order for him to land the hit.
He's a combo slave to me, just because I don't like using him.
Though it can be the most rewarding hit.
And at this point, I just use Cowluga's combo. But he is very good, don't get me wrong. If you're putting Lasvos right behind Aphrodite, I think you're pretty much saying Lasvos is amazing. What do you mean finally we see Aphrodite? She's amazing. Especially against aliens.
Overall, her stats are built perfectly to counter the entire genre of aliens. Saber is an amazing mid-range.
Oh my god, I forgot about Saber. You were waiting to see her? Oh, okay. I forgot that Saber exists, but Saber's very good. I love Saber. I wish I could get her. I wish Fate Stay Night would come back. Because I want Saber and I want Sakura. Two really cool Ubers, in my opinion. Dazzly better too? Shaking my head. Fuck off.
Kazujiso's second and
Kazujiso.
be ignored, as we all know his usage comes down to his first form. In Kazujiso's
Accurate.
First form,
Saber's probably the best collab Uber. True. Even generally, 5k DPS on an LD rusher like her, she's essentially an Uber version of Courier.
You can constantly spawn Kazujiso, and that damage per second can pile up to even hundreds of thousands of damage per second. Of course, since Kazujiso's a spammable
Saber for dojo capabilities down. Yeah, Sakura sounds absolutely goated. I love the sound of her. Like I would love to have her. Hey, I by the way, I just want to say I used Jizo on my new account, and something that I noticed is that once you get Courier, you're not going to be using Kazujizo on anything other than Dark or Black and Angels. No, his level 30 stats are at the bottom. His level 30 stats are at the very bottom. But like, as soon as you get Courier, you're not using Jizo generally. That's something that I noticed, is that you're only using him against Black and Angel. And so I think Jizo has been forever overrated as hell, because you can just replace him with Paris, Cameraman, a surprising amount of just non-Uber alternatives, because there's a lot of spammable area attackers. So even against Black, Pizza, and against Angels, eventually you can get Mushroom. I think Jizo is still overrated. I think he's very overrated nowadays.
If you happen to have every unit 02,
yeah, I think he's just a Black and Angel person now at this point. Isn't Jizo comparable to First Form Gao? Yeah. I'm not saying First Form Gao is amazing. I think it's just as bad as Jizo, or just as overrated as Jizo. Now this guy is Uber Courier, and he's amazing. I don't really think there's anything I can say about this guy. He's just amazing. He doubles his DPS at a third of his HP. It's insane. Absolutely insane. You still think Jizo is the best spammable attacker, but it's just that the role isn't as important anymore. That's true. Yeah, very. But like even on my new account where I'm early on in the game, I still think that Paris, Cameraman, Pizza, all of them could do better, especially now that Courier exists. Yeah, O2 does an immense amount of damage. Cameraman's not necessarily better. I don't find Kazujiso that desirable generally.
An amazing Uber who has a long distance that pierces up to 325.
Seeing Shadow Gao below Mighty Gao? Yeah, especially since we're talking about specialists. Is he not considering specialist value anymore? Because I think... Huh. That's weird. I am surprised to see Shadow Gao that low.
and double
But I mean,
first
I'm
range
fine
the
with it.
first time to get a knockback.
It's
If
I'd say it's
Ganesha gets
valid.
knockback, his damage per second will go to 7,000 or 9,000
Oh,
if you talent him with the extra strength.
you spelled
This
Jizo
applies
wrong.
to all enemies, including traitless, so this makes
No,
him
that's alright.
useful
I'll
and
allow
rare
it.
in
I'll
all
allow it.
stages. Just an Uber who takes chunks of enemies' health and each hit they
Yeah,
land.
Ganesha in his first form closes
Gao
his
is an
eyes.
amazing generalist who has a range of 480 and is
You're
strong
using
against
Ganesha in the
traded
wrong
enemies.
situations. Ganesha is not known for long range, it's known for long LD, so you need to have things in the front line. And then also he has a lot of HP, so he can keep getting knocked back and be
To
fine
apply
for the
this
most
strong
part.
against, you get a unit who has a
But
health of
just
120 to
yeah.
160,000
He only has
and
400
a
range,
damage
keep
of
that in
8 to
mind.
9,000 damage per second. His critical should be
Shadow
taken as
Gao
a
has
huge, all
480
critical
range,
hit, and the
so
unit
I just want to
support
mention
is
that.
more than an amazing, as not a lot of Ubers have a big range and immunity to waves at the same time. Gao is just an extremely strong Uber who will stay alive for the entire round and deal good chunks of damage.
And Shadow
Empress
Lord
Chronos
Gao
is an amazing
isn't? Come on
crowd
now.
controller, as she's able to guarantee a freeze for a second to traded enemies from each of her 3 multi-hit with a long distance that reaches
Yeah,
over
Ganesha's
260.
insane.
From her attack frequency of 10 seconds and being able to freeze for 3 seconds, you have
50
most
plus
of the
40
enemies
Jizo,
frozen for
damn.
30% of the run. This allows for the other 9 units that you brought to stack up and deal as much
I
damage as possible.
I want to go ahead
before
and
the
mention,
enemies
I also think Chronos Freeze is overrated. I just want to mention that because it's kind of the same thing as Hanzo. Like people see Freeze and they're like, "Oh my god, Freeze," but like it's really not that big of a deal, in my opinion.
which is
But
amazing.
it's good.
Of
Don't
course,
don't get
there's
me
counties
wrong.
that Chronos may have
But it's
trouble
not
with,
as
such
big of a deal
Ganesha
as some
First,
people
who has
say
the
it
unit to
is.
freeze. But in the end, if you want an amazing crowd controller,
Gao got
that's
plus
unit
10
that
range for
can
top
deal with
15.
enemies, then Chronos is an amazing
Damn.
choice. D'Artagnan is a mid-range long
I'm
distance generalist who
I like this guy. He put D'Artagnan above Mighty Lord Gao. I like this guy. I absolutely like this guy. That's all it takes for me to like somebody is for them to put D'Artagnan above a majority of other Ubers.
deals massive damage against
Chronos
traded
is mostly a
enemies, immunity
synergetic
to
unit,
waves, and more.
absolutely.
When the massive
Which
damage
is why I think she still deserves her top placing. I prefer Ubers that work well with others rather than being standalone units. I prefer synergetic Ubers rather than
is
standalone.
applied, his damage can go from 10,000
I will
to
stand by that.
13,000 damage per second.
I think
His damage was
synergy is
225
better
here,
than
so he's
standalone.
able to completely push back due to his hard damage. Sadly, compared
His
to
attack
his
animation is also
alternatives,
sweet.
His survivability is a bit worse, though it doesn't change the fact that he's an amazing traded
First
killer.
form Dart is actually pretty good.
One-eyed
You can use it
Asuka
like
is
in
arrow
places
and
of
not
courier and
ultra-efficient
stuff.
mostly, where Asuka has a long distance, guarantees a
Attack
low
animation
range
is kinda
attack,
long,
and
but that's
bursts
about
through
it.
all enemies for 2.5 seconds, as well as Colossus Layer. Her curse ability was nearly nerfed to half the duration, so if the search doesn't land on the enemy you want to curse, it won't be as effective. So just like Castley, Asuka is
Dazzly
pure damage, as
2.0.
her level 3 surge
Actually,
allows her
Dazzly
damage per second to go
3.0,
from
I guess.
2.2
Well, no,
thousand
2.0.
to nearly 9,000. 9,000 for a search that can spawn 400 further than the standing range is groundbreaking.
Except the
Thank you
2.0
very
is
much,
worse than
unit. It
1.0.
must be said that she isn't immune to wave or surge.
So
it comes
Dazzly
from
knockoff,
stated
I guess
wave
is what I
or
should
surge.
say.
Overall, One-Eyed Asuka is the best collab Uber in the entire game.
You always
and
place
an amazing
irreplaceable
Uber
units and
overall.
synergetic units at the highest?
Amaderasu is
Exactly.
an amazing backliner
I,
against
I
all
love that.
trades,
I love
thanks to
that
her
thought
massive
process that you
damage
have.
against traded enemies. Against
Unique
traded, her
units
damage
and
ranges from
synergetic units,
11,000 to
absolutely.
14,000 damage
Now, I
per
will
second,
say,
which is
Timu Dazzly. I will say, I think D'Artagnan deserves to be above Amaterasu because I think a lot of people undervalue LD. I think a lot of people undervalue LD. And D'Artagnan doesn't even have that much less HP than Amaterasu. Plus, he has immune to waves.
amazing coming from a standing reach of 455. Her talents make her an even better generalist, with being able to break alien barriers and gaining
Oh yeah, Anubis over Amaterasu all day, every day. Absolutely, thanks to Ultra Talents.
And she'll do a fantastic job against traded.
That methodology is only applicable for people with a lot of Ubers. So what? You just want everybody to be like, oh, this Uber is a standalone Uber that does amazingly by itself with nothing else. Absolutely everything else is useless whenever you're using this Uber. This Uber is the best strictly because it's an Uber. Instead, you want it to be like, oh, this Uber... And wouldn't you rather, oh, this Uber works well with Housewife, works well with other units, other attackers, works well with all of this. Wouldn't, like... I'm
generalist, where they're strong against traded enemies, a Colossus Slayer.
I don't have a lot of 11 draws that I can do.
Weaken, warp, curse, and toxic.
Who is so old, by the way?
Able to pierce 120.
Sirius?
Since she's strong against traded,
Sirius is overrated, by the way. I just want to say that.
per second, with her health reaching up to 100.
But it's fine.
These are amazing, as she becomes one of the best generalists to bring against mixed stages. And
really?
Her of 120 helps her deal even more.
I'd say Mighty Lord Gao does better than her.
120 pierce is only half her damage. Still,
her multi hit's weird, and her damage isn't that great, and she only has strong against.
Being a quick 77 seconds.
Why is this the first Uber he's mentioned recharge time? Everyone is either overrated or underrated. No, some people are good rated. Some people are normal rated. It's just very rare that you find that Goldilocks middle term.
Too serious on the field, which will wipe most enemies in the game. Her Colossus Slayer is amazing against nearly all Baron enemies, especially with her immunity to debuff.
I think Anubis is underrated as fuck.
And the best Colossus Slayer Uber.
But I think that Sirius is definitely overrated as hell.
Against Black, he does a whopping 36,000 damage per second.
Yeah, this guy's really good. I agree. Yukimura is very good.
His usage can still work.
What do I define normal rated? I define normal rated as Yukimura. He deserves to be this high up. I think he deserves... Like, to me, he's normal rated. Meanwhile, to others, he may still be over or underrated. But to me, he's normal rated. I'd say people think he's good because he is good. You know what I mean?
Outside of Black, as he still manages to deal 15,000 damage per second.
Yukimura and Count Yukimura shouldn't be this far apart. Yes, they should be because of Yukimura's strengthen and his better normal stats. I will say that. And also, this list does not include Count Yukimura's true form.
With the speed of 75, he will guarantee a hit each time he gets.
Why would you move Yukimura down because of Bahamut? You're making a unit that's compared to other Ubers worse because a non-Uber gets talents and becomes better? I disagree with that.
Little things such as a 51-second recharge time and extremely fast speed compared to other rushers and strengthen.
You choose Bahamut? That doesn't make Yukimura any worse though. Yukimura is still just as good as Yukimura. You're just going to choose Bahamut over him. Sure. But Yukimura is still fucking amazing. It doesn't make him any worse in the ranking.
The entire game, arguably better than a.
He's still just as good.
D'Artagnan is simply put a traitless killer. Being a nuker against one of the rare traits.
Traitless killer? Try Shadow Gao as well.
With a damage per second of 15.
Shadow Gao is also a traitless killer.
Of 210, he'll clear any traitless he encounters.
Nobunaga is not bad because of Bomber. Nobunaga is bad because he's undesired. Nobunaga is not bad because of Bomber's existence, alright? That is not the reason why Nobunaga is quote-unquote bad. I think he's just actually as useful. I think he's actually just as useful as he would be with Bomber. Because he's a ranged Bomber. He's still useful. He's not necessarily bad. There is no useless Uber. I don't like comparing Ubers to other things. I don't like saying that an Uber or a unit is any worse just because there's something that could replace it. That could provide the same niche. Could you use one over the other? Sure. But that doesn't make one any worse in its effectiveness. Bomber can be better than Nobunaga. Bomber can be more useful and more reliable. However, just because you're comparing Bomber to him, that doesn't make him any less of what he already is. You know what I mean? It's like taking part in a competition. It's like, think of it as Lightning McQueen. He's an amazing racer. He's constantly an amazing racer. Let's say he stays consistent instead of aging, and he's just racing the same speed constantly, right? And then somebody comes up and goes in front of him and speeds past him. What then? Is Lightning McQueen worse because of that? Or is he just as good, just somebody else came up and took the lead? I feel like my logic is fairly simple here.
60% of his health.
It's not what you think? Good. Then Lightning McQueen is second? Yeah, but he's still just as good as he was before. He moves down in the placement? Yeah, by somebody that's in the same ranking. Bahamut is not in this ranking. If he was, then sure, but Yukimura would be moved down. But Bahamut ain't in this ranking, bitch. If we were talking about Ubers taking over other Ubers, then sure. You're bringing up completely absurd points here.
against traitless. That makes any traitless obsolete. His standing range isn't too shabby as he has a 340 range with a 91
Dazzly better.
all the while
Still, Bahamut would have better usage. I'm not saying Bahamut's not better. I'm not saying Bahamut's not better. I'm just saying that Yukimura is not any worse than he would be without Bahamut's existence. Dazzly is greater than Lightning McQueen, you're right about that.
Overall,
Dazzly would win.
Any traitless you thought was difficult now becomes a test dummy for D'Artagnan. That's referred to as
overrated. That's all I have to say about this guy.
That has a single attack in exchange for better stat. If true formed and talented, Balrog can deal 34,000 damage per second.
Actually, you know what? I won't say overrated because I will say if you boost him up to level 50 and boost his HP is the main problem. 66,000 HP on a melee unit is actually not all that great. So if you boost him, increase that HP, then sure, he's good. But
strengthened can deal 102,000 per second.
Exactly, Dark.
Any unit that will get past his way.
Balrog does require a lot of investment
Stages that are filled with peons will
because you also have to invest in his strengthen. However, I don't believe his strengthen is actually all that strong. You just said you value irreplaceable units and then you say he's overrated.
You should heavily invest on.
Hey, you want to hear something? He's replaced by Can. If an Uber has a non-Uber get a better role, you use the not. We're not talking about usage. We're talking about effectiveness. We're talking about actual We're not talking about usage. We're talking about their skill individually. We're not comparing them. Can and Barg have very different roles? What? Excuse me? Okay, first of all, I think you're crazy. Can isn't in the ranking though, is it? I was just saying that Barg's not that unique. I was just saying he's not that unique. I'm not saying he's any worse because Can exists. I'm saying he ain't that unique. Can and Barg are both single attacking melee attackers that have a good amount of HP. Can you describe them as any more? Can is okay, first of all, small money earner? No. And second of all, I think you underestimate Can's damage. Can does a massive amount of damage. And Can's also more spammable. But I will say you can use them both. You can use them both. You can absolutely use them both. And they are both very good. Also, I think Mitama might be a little too high, but it's alright.
Formerly known as the best Uber in the entire game. Now,
but like, I think I'm not gonna. Can is a top 5 unit, and his damage justify it. Can would not be as good without the damage. The double money is not what makes Can good. It's the damage. Trust me. Speed, damage, HP, all of it, and then the double cash makes her much more usable, or much more desired. But she's still very good outside of it.
14 times. Even when Ponos attempts to nerf her, such as adding enemy curses and surges, she still manages to slow nearly all the enemies on stage, thanks to her 300 Piers. If we rolled her,
I don't know about nearly. I don't know about that. She kind of misses the people right in front of her.
Multi-hit can reach up to 400 Piers, guaranteed to slow to all enemies for 2 seconds.
What? Okay. Oh my god. Do not mention one lineup challenges whenever you're talking about general usefulness and skill of a unit. Do not look at one lineup challenges. Do not. Do not. Because obviously Barg's an Uber. He has better stats, obviously. But Can is more spammable and generally going to be more useful. Why are you even talking about this? Why are we talking about that? I don't care about unique. Can provides the same usage. People just prefer Barg because he has more HP, he can run in there, and he has more DPS. He has more DPS because he attacks more often. That doesn't change his niche. He's just, like, sure, he's unique, I guess. But Can has the same niche. He's not completely his own thing. Can is similar. Can is similar, making Balrog less unique. That doesn't mean he's worse. That's not what I'm saying. Nobody prefers Balrog over Can? Oh, you'd be surprised. I actually do think Balrog's better than Can because of his higher HP, higher damage, higher attack frequency, or quicker attack frequency. Can doesn't provide the same usage? Excuse me? You're telling me Balrog, you know, gets more than one hit against the same things that Kankan would only get one hit on? Kankan and Balrog get about the same amount of hits. Balrog has less range than Kankan. Whatever. Dark Phono is number 4. That's I disagree. Balrog tends to get 3 hits, and Kankan has more range, giving her more hits. And then she's also more spammable. She gets just as many hits as Balrog does. If Balrog gets all 3 of his hits. Don't forget, his attack animation is still kind of long. I still think Balrog's overrated as fuck, but he's still good.
From 550 to 750, he still deals 4.7 thousand damage per second, and from 750 to 900, he deals 2.3 thousand damage per second. All 3 spots are
Rankin's also cheaper.
Any enemy seen on stage. All in all, he somehow manages to be a jack of all trades. Castley the Scourge is an amazing mid-range crowd control.
I actually think she's really underrated. I think a lot of people underrate Castley. Pretty sure Kankan has a longer force swing. I'm still saying Balrog has a force swing. I didn't say he had a longer one. I said he had one. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? You say hell nah. 3k DPS multiplied by 3. She has 9k DPS at 375 range with decent HP. With good immunities and a really good LD and low recharge time. I think she's underrated. I don't think she's better than Dark Phono, but I do think she's underrated as fuck.
Her health isn't high enough for the small standing range she has, though thankfully her recharge time.
Yeah, I love Castley.
Overall, if you have her in your loadout, she'll make most stages entirely easy.
9k DPS is better than the best scenario of Dark Phono's DPS by 2000 DPS. So you've used her only in gimmick stages? Well, that's your fault.
There's a reason on why she's second place. The first thing that needs to be said is that Castley the Bane is without a doubt.
I'm fine with Dazzly being under Phonoa. I'm fine with him.
Damage per second if Surge is included, as well as a long distance and amazing spawn surge. It means too many things, most notably Wave and Surge. And of course, her
I'm fine with it. I mean, they're all interchangeable.
Enemies, removing their abilities that may have been terrible on the field.
I will say they are all interchangeable.
The Bane is a near perfect Uber, but I believe Ponos is aware of that. With an increasing number of enemies having immunity to Surge and even counter surge,
I even think Balrog is interchangeable for number 1, just because of his niche ability to have single targeting with insane amounts of damage.
She can constantly deal damage and curse, and while it's rewarding, once enemies counter that surge, she really can't be viewed as the best Uber in the game. Once again,
what's your ranking, Coolest?
She is an amazing Uber, crowd controller, and damage dealer.
Honestly, true. Dazzly's a wife. I mean, Dazzly's
the entire game.
Is Dazzly really a waifu? I think Dazzly's just hot. I don't think she's a waifu. I think there's a difference between hot and waifu. You're saying Phono isn't hot? I'm saying Phono is a man.
Resulting in his 17 to 13,000 damage per second against traded. Though thankfully it's in his
way harder. No.
Even then,
he's a furry, that's what he is. Cosmo best Uber, by the way? Well, yeah, I mean, sure, I guess.
He can be viewed as a literal
He's only good because of his 600 range, though.
People may have is his risk to get cursed.
If he had 500 range like Dark Phono, I don't think he'd actually be that as good as he is. I think the only reason why he's as good as he is because of his 600 range.
The only problematic enemies would be both forms of Lusas and Golem Sunfish.
Even before his Ultra form, you're wrong.
In 2 stages, and Golem Sunfish does curse Phonoa due to their 50 pierce, but if Phonoa is already in that standing range, odds are it's because you're already
before his Ultra form, he's not dealing nearly enough damage to actually make a big impact.
And fast speed. His fast speed may work.
Yeah, Phono would entirely be better if Phonoa had only 500 range. Absolutely.
As his small clip just gives him a bigger pierce, so there's really no complaining there. Plus, he'll get knocked back into a safe position if the field does get chaotic, thanks to his 5 knockback count. One thing I can semi-agree on is his performance against Traitless. Against Traitless, his damage per second is just his original raw damage, which is nothing to praise about. Though a unit with 600 range is still a unit with 600 range. You can draw him in and he'll do an amazing job against Traitless enemies while having
opinions on Cosmo. Oh, don't get me into it.
Objections against Phonos people may bring up, when in reality Phonos raw stats are amazing, as his raw damage, survivability, and range outclasses all potential.
Bedside Bed really got coincidentally pulled in by Cosmo. I'm not getting into it though.
Sure, Castley the Bane may be able to crowd control amazingly, but the raw instinct
this is awfully late. What do you mean?
Clears any and all enemies in the field, including ones that Castley may not be able to counter well. Child of Destiny Fonoa not only clears all enemies he encounters, he also clears every Uber in this ranking.
What do you mean by clears? Clears means that he easily surpasses them. That's not the case. I definitely don't think that's the case. I think this guy underestimates the effect that the multi-hit has. Outside of the internal range where all 3 hits are hitting, outside of that range, I think that which is he's got a 10 inner range where all 3 hits are colliding. So most of the time he's only getting 1 or 2, and at that point I don't think he's actually clearing anything. Like, I mean, yeah, he still does a lot of damage, but remember, this is still only 16k DPS, and that's split into a multi-hit. The only reason why he's good is because of his 600 attack range. Also, it took me like an extra hour to watch this video, I will say. Stay up all night for the stream? Sorry. The stream is a few hours later than normal. Sorry about that. It's because I had friends hang out and stuff. Okay, so I think I should set something straight. Okay, so first of all, where is Anubis? Anubis is number 96. I'm gonna go ahead and say, hydrate. Okay, I got one last sip of water. Wait, you have friends? Shut up. I want to do one final thing. I want to talk about who I think are the top contenders for number 1 Uber. I think Anubis is a top contender. I think let's see. I think where's Big Man at? Where there you are. Nope, that's not it. I think where come on. I think this guy is a top contender. I think Balrog's a definite contender for number 1. Because like even though he's not completely unique, he is unique amongst Ubers. And so I think that gives him a number 1 opportunity. And then I think there's Dazzly. I think there's Fonoa. And then do we even know where the hell Cosmo was? Where the hell was Cosmo? Cosmo. Is it going to... Here, I have an idea. Control find. Cosmo. Grateful. The Grateful Crane. And I think this is also... I think this is the other contender for number 1. So Anubis, Cosmo, Dazzly, Fonoa, Balrog, and Dark Phono. So I think that there's 6 contenders. I think that's all I said. I think there's 6 contenders for number 1 Uber. I'm not considering Lasvos. The only reason why he would be considered is because of the combination of his high damage and research combo. But whenever it comes to the Uber themselves, I would not say that Lasvos is there. And I'm not considering Izanagi as either. I would not say I'm considering Lasvos. Or not. I'm not considering Izanagi. I am considering Lasvos. I'm just not considering his research combo, which makes me think that he's not even remotely close to being considered number 1. And Mola King, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so that's my opinion. That's me personally. That's my opinion. But yeah, Cosmo was put this low. He was put at 179. But yeah, he has the highest chance to solo every stage in the game with only 1 unit deployed. Lasvos? Oh no, Mola King. I mean, sure. I hope you're joking, because it would still take a long time. It would still take a long time for him to clear, even by himself, and it would still be RNG, of course, because dodge is only like 2 seconds, right? So it would still be RNG. Molo can solo every stage, not medals. Can, not will, right? Well, I guess he technically could solo medals. It would just take a long fucking time. That is true, but soloing a stage is not what I value as an Uber. An Uber is not a solo user, in my opinion. Even though I believe Cosmo to be somebody that is a standalone Uber rather than a synergetic Uber, I still think he's contending for number 1 because he still can be used generally and with other things. He just won't get as good of usage. He just won't have as good of usage. Yeah, I mean, eventually it might be like since you can stack them, since you can stack molas, he might breach them eventually. But I do, I do think I overstayed my welcome. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing my opinion. And YouTube, if you watched this entire goddamn thing, thank you. Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're not too mad at me for my opinions. Neo, I don't think did I say anything offensive to Neo? I don't think I did. I mean, maybe I just made some jokes here and there, but I don't think I said anything to offend Neo, but if I did, I'm sorry. Cuz I make jokes. But if you did enjoy, please do come back for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't listen to Bedside Bed. Peace.